false negative read. New COVID strands are on the rise, and non-contact manufacturers are being irresponsible at a time when accuracy matters most. Accurate temperature measurements are essential.
Now,
Don't wait.
if it'll
Switch
help,
to Exergen because they are
they
accurate
do.
and backed by
They
over
do
100
cook in the
clinical
show.
studies.
Do they really?
Yeah, they'll fix a meal in the show.
That's good to know.
I
So
think maybe the first episode they're sitting down and
You
do
can unlock more cash
do
than
they
you
have like
realize
creme
when you
fraiche
hook
in
up
it or
with
anything like
cash
Couldn't
that?
tell you all
finance
those.
today.
What?
Last year, average home values have gone
Hey, man, is it A and B?
No, I'm with you. I just couldn't figure out that last thing she said.
right now before rates go
They
up.
always talk about creme fraiche on
Home,
TV.
right.
Add a little creme
Rocket today.
I mean, I used to be a cook, but I never heard of that. But I guess I was an army cook, so I didn't.
Y'all didn't have creme fraiche?
No,
in
no,
your
no,
army meal?
no. We had, yes, potatoes. Yeah.
An update on Florida's starving
Yeah.
animals. Feeding ground poisoned by pollution. The Florida Fish and Wildlife Agency says it's brought tons of food to manatees on Florida's East Coast. The agency's Tom Reinert.
We've provided about 50,000 pounds of mixed produce and lettuce.
They're bringing the food to the Florida Power and Light Station. Manatees congregate there because
Creme
of the warm
fraiche.
water the
Okay.
plant generates. More than 1,100 manatees died last year, mostly because of the pollution that killed off much of the seagrass they depend on for survival. Peter King, CBS News, Orlando.
A judge has issued a temporary injunction preventing release of photos, video, and other records related to Bob Saget's death in a Florida hotel room. The judge has agreed with the comedian's family, saying they would suffer severe mental pain, anguish, and emotional distress if the information was released. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
As we begin the year 2022, Dr. Michael Irwin of Montgomery Orthodontist would like to offer you some good news. He's reducing his fees for braces by 20% the entire year. This represents a substantial savings of more than $1,000 for a typical case. Due to historic inflation, where the price of gas, food, cars, and almost anything else you buy has increased, this is a golden opportunity for a family to save significant money on their child's orthodontic treatment. Dr. Irwin has been successfully treating patients for more than 40 years in the Montgomery area. You'll also love his friendly and helpful staff, who has been helping him take care of patients for decades. The Montgomery family has been loyal to him, and he looks forward in 2022 to this opportunity to give back. They encourage you to take advantage of this special offer by calling his office today for a no-cost evaluation at 279-6910. That's 279-6910.
Mike Durant, Blackhawks pilot, POW survivor. Mike Durant, fearless patriot, courage and confidence. Mike Durant, job career, family, American. Mike Durant is a fighter, a leader, the conservative outsider Alabama needs in the United States Senate. Mike's not afraid to stand up to the woke mob in Washington, and he won't be bullied by radicals hell-bent on giving our country away. Mike Durant will defend our
Good
borders
morning, people.
and stop the runaway spending from the left. He'll take on the corrupt establishment. And he'll never forget why he's there. Alabama
Amen.
conservative, American.
I'll never forget why you
Mike
there.
Durant for the United States Senate.
Although some
By
people
Alabama
do.
Patriots PAC, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.alabamapatriotspac.com. Alabama Patriots PAC is responsible for the content of this advertisement.
Why do more Americans buy term life insurance through SelectQuote than any other term life sales agency? Because SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance. We found Tanya a 10-year, $500,000 policy for only $12 a month. And her husband Steve, who has high blood pressure, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for only $19 a month. How do we do it? At SelectQuote, we aggressively comparison shop highly rated insurance companies to find you your best rates. Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
SelectQuote, America's #1 term life insurance sales agency. We shop, you save. For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-913-1199. That's 1-800-913-1199. Or go to SelectQuote.com. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials.
Stacking Benjamins with Joe and his good friend OG not only has great financial insight, it's laid back with humor too.
Joe and his gang.
The technology platform for Vanguard is trash. We see it on our platform all the time. People that love Vanguard can't stand using the website. Sitting on hold for 3 hours to talk to somebody, that's an easy transaction you should be able to do online.
But I have problems listening to people who got 1 year. Talking about Van Gogh, right?
How long have you been sitting on that one?
Stacking Benjamins. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Telling it like it really is. It's the Dan Bongino Show, weekdays from 11 to 2 on News Radio 1440.
Your WSFA First Alert Weather Forecast on News Radio 1440.
This recording is sponsored by Staples Store. Staples has the tools your business needs to get work done no matter where. Right now, save up to 40% on select chairs so your home office has everything your office has. In-store only, offer ends 2/26 while supplies last. Explore what's new at Staples, the working and learning store.
Another unseasonably warm day on the way. Temperatures up to 77 degrees today. There will be a lot more clouds than sun, and it will be windy all day. A wind advisory in effect for wind gusts of 30 to 45 miles an hour. Most of the day is dry, although I think we'll have a couple of showers. Perhaps a storm this morning into the afternoon, but after 5 o'clock through the evening, a line of rain and storms pushes through. Some of those could be strong and severe with high wind gusts. We're dry and cooler for Friday.
That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Tyler Seabury for News Radio 1440.
Montgomery Skywatch Traffic, brought to you by Brubaker Motors. It's better at Brubaker on News Radio 1440.
Good morning, Montgomery. Right now, things are looking good. No major problems or accidents are being reported. Interstate systems moving into the Tri-County area from Clanton, Albany, Greenville. No problems on Highway 80 or 14 coming in from Selma. And 231 south out of Wetumpka, north out of Troy, still carrying light traffic. Keep listening. We'll keep you posted. Shopping is incredible at Premier Place. Shop Bath & Body Works, Cuts by Us, Hourglass Optical, Shoe Carnival, Pharaoh Vape and Phone Repair, and more. Premier Place in Prattville, another great McClinton and Company development. Buckle up, it's the law. For Montgomery Skywatch Traffic, this is Major Delay.
You love your car, yes, but why are you not loving it with those tires that carry you and your family everywhere? Let Chico's Auto Pros show some love with our super savings on tires. Chico's Auto Pros.
Good morning, I'm Judd Davis. Here's what's happening in the news on this Thursday. The House Public Safety Committee approved controversial legislation to end the requirement for a person to get a permit to carry a concealed handgun in public. It now moves to the full Alabama House for consideration. Many law enforcement officials don't like the law, saying permits provide a crucial tool to combat crime and enhance public safety. Gun rights groups argue that people shouldn't have to pay a fee to carry a concealed handgun. Gas prices continue to rise up 2 cents in the last 24 hours. AAA reporting the current national average sits at $3.51 a gallon. Gas is up 5 cents in just last week. Bentley averaged $3.26 a gallon, up 7 cents in the last week. And some news from the Olympics. USA's women's hockey team has won the silver in the Winter Olympics. Team USA lost to Canada last night in the gold medal game 3-2. That's your news on this Thursday morning. I'm Jen Davis for WSFA.
Attention, Alabama voters. Stand by for a Republican election alert. President Donald J. Trump has endorsed conservative Will Brooks for U.S. Senate in the Alabama Republican primary. Repeat, Trump endorses Brooks for Senate. Speaking at a rally here in Alabama, President Trump repeatedly praised Mo Brooks.
Mo is someone who is more honored than anyone else in Congress.
You know that it's absolutely a possibility.
He's an honest guy.
But
he is really with conservative patriots like Mo Brooks fighting for us in Washington. I have never been more confident that we will defeat the radical left. Your next U.S. Senator will be Alabama.
President Trump endorsing Mo Brooks for U.S.
Come on
Senate.
down here. Don't be the boy hard.
You know, that's what I've been praying for the radio for a while. But the one thing that I never did was just nobody come down there open again and whoop ass. That's all. Yeah. That's why I know. That's why I said, and my friends upstairs who all got guns. Yeah.
You know what I'm afraid of?
What?
I'm afraid of a freaking Timothy McVeigh.
if somebody wants to park a truck here to take out the Secret Service and the federal market, U.S. market.
And the FBI.
Just text and get a complimentary
And, yeah.
John will be happy you did. Eugenics helps
This is Southeastern. This is the Southeastern network.
Yeah.
and you'll like it
Well.
if you know what I mean.
That's the only thing I would, that's my only
Text area to 231231 right now for your
Then I guess that's the case that lock the door won't help.
That incinerator ever. They'll get it back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text ARROW to 231231. That's arrow to 231231.
Hello, this is your Congressman Barry Moore. Are you a veteran in need of assistance with the VA?
Are you?
Accessing service records or disputing a disability?
When he
rating
came
form?
to Jerusalem,
Understand the red tape that many veterans face.
tried to
I'm always
join the
here to serve you
disciples,
and would love to
but
help you.
they were
Please
all
visit my
afraid of him,
website,
not believing that he really
or call
was
my
a
office
disciple.
at 334-478-6330.
This message was paid for by the official funds authorized by the U.S. House of Representatives.
Why do more Americans buy term life insurance through Select Quote than any other term life sales agency? Because Select Quote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance. We found Tanya, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for only $12 a month. And her husband Steve, who has high blood pressure, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for only $19 a month. How do we do it? At Select Quote, we aggressively comparison shop highly rated insurance companies to find you your best rates. Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, Select Quote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
Select Quote, America's #1 term life insurance sales agency. We shop, you save. For your free quote, call Select Quote at 1-800-913-1199. That's 1-800-913-1199.
Okay.
Or go to selectquote.com.
I get it
Full
now.
details on example policies at
Again.
selectquote.com/commercials.
They are the two sexiest fat men alive. Really fun. And you can hear Rick and Bubba on News Radio 1440, beginning at 9 a.m. Depend on it.
And here we go.
Sometimes you need reset. Refocus on your day. The moment where you take a deep breath and change the focus from the problem to the problem solver. This is Decisions with Kevin Elkins.
Oh well. Let me go. Get ready. Ooh, boy.
Tomorrow morning, if you wake up and the sun does not appear,
And good morning, Montgomery, Alabama. It is time to rise and shine, if you can, once again. For it is another day that the Lord has made. Good morning to you. I'm Kevin Elkins, and this is News Radio 1440 on your AM dial, or newsradio1440.com, our 95.1 Channel 3 on HD Radio, or our app, News Radio 1440. Just download it from your Android, Google Play, or from the App Store with Apple. Either way, the only way you don't hear this show, you just don't want to. I feel you. I know what that feels like sometimes. Anyway, good morning to you. It's time for our daily bread. And our daily bread today has been brought to you by, well, it's not been brought to you by anybody but me at the moment. But the title is Being Seen. And it reads, Acts 9 and 26 says, when he came to Jerusalem, he tried to join the disciples. But they were all afraid of him, not believing that he really was a disciple. That's Acts 9:26. Now you got to read the whole thing to get the perspective of this, okay? Today's scripture insight comes from Acts 9:26 through 30. Govern yourselves accordingly. Again, it is February the 17th, 2022 AD. It is a day that has never been, and it is a day that shall never, ever come again. And once it's gone, you don't get a do-over. You don't get it back. You don't get to summon it from the past. You don't get to come back and do all the things that you should do the days that you didn't do. And you certainly don't get a chance to come back and undo the things that you did. So whatever it is you do this day, make sure that if tomorrow should be, you'll be proud of what you have done this day. And like I always say, if you lived a while on God's green earth, you have seen, you have heard many, many yesterdays. And if we are blessed and given the grace of God, we may, I'm not sure, but we may see another day. But if this is the day, then do what you can while you can, for as long as you can, until you can't. Bishop Elijah May said, whatever you do in life, we should do it so well that no man living, no man dead, and no man yet to be born can do it any better. And I say, if that is the standard by which you live life, you shall always be successful, because you're not a failure. Oh, you'll fail at a thing or two, but you're not a failure until you quit. We say rest if you can, but never, ever quit. Give out if you must, but you never, ever, ever give up, because quitters don't win. And winners, oh, while they may fail at a thing or two, they never quit. So don't you give up either. Being seen, that's our daily bread for today, February the 17th, 2022 AD.
Hi, friends, and welcome to today's encouragement from the Our Daily Bread devotional. Our reading is titled Being Seen, and it was written by Gene Schwab. In an article on mentoring, Hannah Shell explains that mentors need to support, challenge, and inspire. But first, and perhaps foremost, a good mentor means you. Recognition, not in terms of awards or publicity, and a sense of simply being seen. Is a basic
I got you, brother. Okay, now, let me figure that out in a
to be
second.
recognized, known, and believed in. In the New Testament, Barnabas, whose name means son of encouragement, had a knack for seeing people around him. In Acts 9, he was willing to give Saul a chance and wanted helpers work with him. Saul, also called Paul, had a history of persecuting believers in Jesus.
That ain't good.
I think he really was a disciple. Later, Paul and Barnabas had a disagreement over whether to take Mark with them to visit the believers in all the
Okay, I'm back. I'm right here. I'm working on some things. Okay, to my Facebook fans over there, I had my camera fell off the wall, so I had to go over there and do emergency surgery on the camera, just in case. Not for me, only for you guys, because you guys want to see your illustrious talk show host. I realize that I'm not the best looking guy in town, but I do the best I can with what I got. You know what I'm saying? All right, good morning to you. It is time to rise and shine. It is a great morning to be alive. Now, first of all, let me tell you how it worked out last night with the liver and onion. Okay? So now, I hadn't cooked liver in over 30 years or something like that. I just hadn't cooked it. But I always wanted to taste it, but I go to Mrs. B's or somebody else in town to get some liver and stuff like that because they know how to cook it. But yesterday, I took my time and I took some onions and I cut 2 onions up and I put the liver in the skillet. I haven't cooked in a skillet in a long time. I got a deep fat fryer, but there's some things that taste better cooked in the skillet. Okay, so what I did was is that correct grammar? Okay, well Donald would have to tell me next time he's up here if that's good grammar. What I did was that's a colloquial. Okay, okay. Now I put a little chicken grease in the skillet because I went on YouTube and it said use chicken grease. Some used chicken grease, as a matter of fact. And I used some chicken grease and I put because God, it's been a long time since I actually cooked. I can throw stuff together, but I mean really cook. So what I did was I put flour, I took some hardened seasoning to put on the liver, and I seasoned it down a little bit. I took some flour and I put the what's the name of that stuff? Accent. I put some accents in the flour, and then finally, I got it all together, and then I prepped the liver, as it were, and then liver does feel kind of weird. I feel bad for the cow that we took his liver, but he tasted good. But anyway, so now I hadn't cooked it before, so it's been a while since I cooked it, and so I cooked it. My first couple pieces, I cooked too long. Okay. And I don't think I've ever tried to taste anything that tasted that hard in my life was that liver. It was bad. I dried it out. I just killed it. Okay. I killed it. However, I didn't put it all in there at the same time. I realized my mistake. It's been a long time since I cooked it. I realized my mistake. And the next 4 pieces, I let cook just a little bit. Then I took them out. I made some homemade gravy with the flour that I had from the prepping of the liver. Now I know you're supposed to saute the onions, but I said to myself, no, let's just make the gravy, put the liver over in the gravy, and then put the onions on top of that. Okay, put the onions on top of that. And then I like let it cook for about 30 minutes. I let it simmer. Now there's a cauldron. So somebody's probably gonna tell me that I did something wrong. Okay, so who's this? Yeah. Oh really? Ooh. Well, I didn't know that.
In your intestine for a while, it tenderizes your intestines. A lot of people have these scars in their intestinal walls, and it tenderizes to break it down there.
So it'd be Okay, so he be terrorizing a brother at the same time.
I just said not to use it. Just don't be so heavy on it and lie to go through your system. Don't use it as an everyday source of truth.
Okay, all right, that's good information because I surely didn't know that. Okay, I surely didn't know that. All right, appreciate that. So I know somebody's out there always knows what to do. So anyway, I got done cooking it, took a couple pieces out, absolutely scrumptious, except for those first couple pieces that were like hard as looked like leather. Okay, you know, and I got to thinking while I was, and I got to feeling guilty. You know, I got to feeling guilty because I'm sitting there eating a poor animal. Then I thought, well, God made the animals for us to eat. I felt kind of bad for the brother or the sister, whoever it was. You know, you do feel because, but I do know now. I do know this for a fact. If the roles were reversed, they'd eat me. Okay, so once I come to the realization that we were on top of the food chain for the time being, unless we're in the jungle. Now, if we're in the jungle, we're probably at the bottom of the food chain. Okay, so I'm not in the jungle. So once I reconcile myself to the fact that, well, you know, if I was laying on the ground and whatever that liver came from, if it saw me, you know, it'd eat me. You know, even dogs eat you. So I'm just saying, I do feel kind of guilty sometimes eating meat. You know, because it's kind. You think what that used? I mean, it's not a human being, but it used to be something alive. You know, now. The only thing I don't feel guilty about eating is chicken. Because, first of all, chicken got wings, right? But they can't fly no place. So they certainly was made to be eaten. Because I can't think of nothing else chicken can do. Hey, who's this? Unless you're going to talk about something I'm talking about right now, and your phone is all screwed up. I can't hear you. Can't hear you. Your phone's all screwed up. Let me take a break. And that was true. Your phone was all screwed up. I don't know why you don't get a phone, but okay. Anyway, now I got to go to a break and we'll come back and be more serious. But I'm just thinking, I made the turkey. I mean, not the turkey. I made the liver and onions yesterday, and it worked. Zarel ate them. Okay, Zarel ate them. Now I test things on Z because Z, you know, he like little Mikey. He don't eat everything. Okay, he eats some crazy stuff sometimes, but he don't eat everything I cook. Okay, so yesterday though, if Z will eat it, anybody, people of good class will eat it because he just is picky. Okay. Anyway, all right, that's it. I don't know what was wrong with Ed's phone, but it was something screwed up. So we'll be back. I didn't hang up on him. I did hang up on him on purpose, but I not because he was talking, just because that whining noise from the phone. So Ed, get a phone. And we'll be back with lessons of life and things of that nature as soon as I get back. Okay. I got some great lessons of life this morning. I believe I got one in. I believe I got one that everybody can agree with. All right. So don't you guys go into place. We shall return in a few minutes, hopefully. The good Lord says the same. But liver and onions, I mean, it really was good, except that first couple of pieces. You know, you can't overcook liver because you overcook liver. It really is. Yeah, it really it tastes bad because well, you know, because it gets tough. And I made rice. I love rice cookers. Okay, we won't get into that. We'll get into that later. I love rice cookers though. You can just put the water in there, put the rice in there, bam, let it go for a few minutes. Although I do have one thing that I do with rice that always makes it absolutely perfect every time. I'll tell you guys when I get back.
Weather forecast on News Radio 1440.
This report is sponsored by WhatsApp. No one should read your personal messages. That's why WhatsApp uses end-to-end encryption. It protects whatever you send before, during, and after you send it. So no one, not even WhatsApp, can read your messages. Always message privately. WhatsApp.
Another unseasonably warm day on the way. Temperatures up to 77 degrees today. There will be a lot more clouds than sun, and it will be windy all day. A wind advisory in effect for wind gusts of 30 to 45 miles an hour. Most of the day is dry, although I can't rule out a couple of showers, perhaps a storm this morning. Line of rain and storms pushes through. Some of those could be strong to severe with high wind gusts. We're dry and cooler for Friday.
That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Tyler Seabury for News Radio 1440.
Montgomery Skywatch traffic brought to you by Brubaker Motors. It's better at Brubaker on News Radio 1440.
Good morning, Montgomery. We've got a disabled vehicle blocking traffic being reported now. Past I-65, so please use caution. That's 143 northbound just past 65 in Elmore County. Outside of that, we're looking good. Interstate system's moving smoothly. You keep listening. We will keep you posted. Looking forward to Toyota.
Oh, you know what would if I could. All right. Show me some love.
Growing up in rural Alabama, John Lewis was denied the right to vote. On March 7, 1965, he joined the March
That's kind of high.
Montgomery. 5 months later, President Johnson signed the Voting Rights Act into law.
Yeah, that's real high.
A long time coming.
A long time coming. But a change has come.
John Lewis during Black History Month.
Or visit them on Cobbsport Road in Prattville. And if you have an extra vehicle, bring it in for an instant cash offer. Whether you're selling or trading, your vehicle will never be worth more. Larry Pocket Chevrolet. Where the customers do the talking.
Attention men, have you ever been embarrassed when the time is right, but you just couldn't perform? Now there's hope. The secret starts with a visit to Montgomery Men's Health. Men from 21 to 93 are performing better than before, even when the pills don't work. Their urologist, Dr. Tom Alderson, is using...
All right, that's good enough for the time being.
Perform for 30 minutes to an hour and a half of full male performance all without...
Hour and a half? That's a long time, bro.
Is only $99. Give them a call, even if the pills haven't worked, or you have a medical issue like heart problems or prostate issues. If you have erectile dysfunction and want to perform much better, call now. 334-440-3663. That's 334-440-3663. Or go to confidence back. 334-440-3663.
Everybody's got a plan.
That's 334.
Everybody's got a pill.
3663.
Okay.
See website for more information.
All right.
Side effects. Treatments extra. Results may vary. MontgomeryMen'sHealth.com.
Do you need cash? How about an equity loan on your home?
Everybody's got a pill for you.
Mortgage Corporation of the South. We've been serving Central Alabama for well over 25 years, and we help folks cash in on the equity in their homes, mobile homes, land, and automobiles. The cash can be used for anything you want, and the great thing, your credit does not have to be perfect in order to be approved. That's right. If you've had a prior bankruptcy or slow payments, if you have equity in your home, that is your equity. You've built it up. You've paid for it, and it's yours. You can get it. So get the cash you need, use the money for whatever you want. Now, let's shift gears for a second. If you have perfect credit, we have some of the lowest rates that you'll find anywhere for refinances and home purchases. And the best thing, we offer 1 hour loan approvals. That's right, 1 hour loan approvals.
1 hour. I can't believe it's almost Friday already.
9,000 or ECSloans.com.
That's what happens when you come to work early in the morning. Times go by fast.
Savings during the President's Day event at Thomas & Chrysler. Dodge, Jeep, Ram. Save big on your new Ram truck. They have more coming every day. And be presidential. And the all-new Wagoneer is here now and ready for you. Plus,
Louisiana
has never been worth more. To give you the most for your trade-in. The best vehicles are always at TallysonAutomotive.com. Where you drive a little and save a lot. Credit must finance the Chrysler Capital. Till retains all country and CFC Real for details.
He is the voice of the conservative millennial, the Ben Shapiro Show.
They're not going to be willing to keep the government shut down.
Today at 3 p.m. on News Radio 1440.
Okay. Now, before I get to anything substantive to talk about. I am sort of wondering. I'll make sure I get my headphones on here. Okay, this is what I need to do here. I'm, we're supposed to get a new police chief, right? And and this is one of the few times, okay, because I really don't really care about those positions because most of the time they are just like pencil pushers anyway. Okay, but I really feel pretty kind of disappointed, and this is rare for me because I normally I don't really support women in those types of positions because I just think men are better at that in that position. But lately, since we've had a plethora of men as police chief, and we really the last guy we had, I couldn't tell. I hope he wasn't transgender or something. 'Cause I mean, he wasn't tough at all. Finley, I like him though. Don't get me wrong, I like him, but I just, there's just some people whose personality like mine. Now, I would not make a good guard in the prison. I wouldn't even make a good prisoner in the prison, but because they would straighten that out real quickly. I'm sure they would. But what I'm thinking uh, is, did we did the mayor give Harris a fair shot here? I mean, did he really consider her? Because all that I have seen, she is actually, um, you know, doing a pretty good job. Now, it's my understanding that we may have somebody coming in from Louisiana. That's my understanding. Now, I could be wrong, so don't take that to the bank. But I thought the chief is doing pretty good. She's engaged. She is she's active, and yeah, I don't know. She actually even talked to me a couple times. Um, but anyway, I don't know. I thought. I mean, unless she's shown herself not to be able to do the job, then I say look for somebody else. But I don't know. I think the mayor made a mistake on this one. But this is just Elkins. Okay. Anyway, now, oh, don't forget, next hour, I got a present for you guys. Next hour, we're going to, I'm going to play for you an interview that I did with Rabbi Looper. Okay, he is coming on at 8 o'clock this morning. But I'm going to play the interview that he engaged. He talked to me in, and we're going to talk to him since the whole Whoopi Goldberg thing got out in the Jewish thing. It's being a Jew. Is it a cultural issue, or is it a ethnicity? You know, is it a religion? And talking to him, for the most part, I guess a little bit of all of that. Um, okay, listen, guys, you guys know I don't normally take calls. Okay, I'm gonna do. I got time to do my. Okay, we got 4 minutes. All right then. Who's this?
You should start important subject matters early in the morning.
What? Yeah, but you might want to wait till the next hour because I ain't got much time.
Now this is a slap in the face to the police and the police department in Montgomery. You telling us, or as the police, that we're not good enough. You got to go to another state where New Orleans crime rate is just a high now. You have to go that far to get somebody. We're not intelligent enough to do the job.
Yeah.
That's what he's saying to these people.
I don't know, but we can have this conversation again on tomorrow. Because I just think she's doing a decent job. I just so. Yeah.
She can't call the President Biden. She said Joe Biden a po Joe.
I know. Yeah. Yeah, I did see that. Yeah, I got to run because I got to do my. But I did see that. Let me take one more. Good morning. Okay, he's going to do good. All right then. But anyway, I was just wondering about the police. I just thought we kind of. I don't know. I think the mayor kind of dropped the ball on that one. I mean, that woman is out there. She's out there. She's rolling. She's trying to implement things Now, the one thing about the mayor, then I'm gonna move on. He does not want. I forgot exactly what they called those guys who used to ride on the back of the trucks. See, the mayor don't want that because I guess it gives us a bad image. Well, it can't be any worse than the image that we have right now. As a matter of fact, I looked at YouTube yesterday. There is a couple of YouTube videos that tell the world the most dangerous streets in Montgomery, Alabama. Okay, talks about our neighborhoods like we just po dunk. Okay, in Montgomery, Alabama. And listen, I don't know that is that the impression that we're making? Is that the great impression we were? I mean, every city has its issue, and that's for sure. But I don't know on this one. But hey, I don't get paid to make those decisions, and so I don't. All right, then I don't. I'm just the mayor of the airways, not mayor of the city. So you know, but you know who my sheriff gonna be for the mayor of the airways? You know who I'm gonna anoint sheriff? Myself. That's right. I'm gonna be the chief of the airways. Okay, me. Anyway, good morning to you. It's time to rise and shine if you can. If you can't, pray harder and let's get up and go to work. Now, what is the word of the day? And that's the first thing we do, the word of the day. The word of the day is meander. Now, what does meander mean? Well, a lot of you folks, especially our politicians, are engaged in this type of behavior. Okay, now what does meander mean? Now, I realize you join me in the morning because you want to learn these things, so I'm here to teach you. Okay, meander means to wander aimlessly or casually, or to follow a winding and intricate course and end up no place. Okay, now some of you folks have meandered most of your life, but it's not too late. Once you realize that's what you're doing, you know what? You go to a different direction. Okay. So the word of the day is meander, and it means to wander aimlessly. Okay. And trust me, we've all had some of that in our lives. So we all had fit that definition had fit all of us at one point or another in our lives. So I'm just saying, but now that you know what you're doing, you're meandering. Okay, stop it. Let's get some direction. Let's find out where we want to go, and let's get to work on it. Okay? All right then. Now, what is the lesson of life today? The lesson of life today is a simple one. And I think if we were honest with ourselves, you would have to agree with this conclusion. I mean, you have to agree. Okay? If we are honest with ourselves, we would find that none of us are as bad as people say we are. But unfortunately, we are not as good as we think we are either. So I think we all fall somewhere in the middle. Okay, I'm going to do it one more time. If we are honest with ourselves, and you got to be honest with yourself, because, we would find that none of us are as bad as other people say we are. And that's true, I find most times. But we, unfortunately, are not as good as we think we are either. So a little humility goes a long way, because all of us have stepped on it somewhere along the line, and probably on multiple occasions. I know I have. Okay, I'm just saying. So if somebody says something about you, it's probably only half true, but there probably will be a little truth in it. Okay. Anyway, it's February the 17th. It is the 48th day of the year, believe it or not. On a little Black history for you this morning, before I get on to the other history. On February the 17th, 1870, Congress passed resolution readmitting Mississippi on condition that it would never change its constitution to disenfranchise Black folks. They may not change the Constitution, but they certainly didn't keep true to that. February 17th, 1963, we know him as MJ, okay? But Michael Jeffrey Jordan, the famed basketball player and the extorter of much money from little children because of his tennis shoes, and him and Nike have caused more havoc in communities. Fantastic basketball player. Only reason I used to watch basketball because of him. But the other part of it, and then that's that 50-50 thing, okay? But he was born on this day, and he was born in New York on this day. In 1997, Virginia House of Delegates votes unanimously to retire the state song. And that state song was Carry Me Back to Old Virginia, a tune that glorified slavery. I'm sure glad they got rid of that song. All right, then. Although some of them up there still think the same way. All right. All right, then. On this day in 1864, during the Civil War, the Union ship USS Housatonic was rammed and sunk into the Charleston Harbor, South Carolina, by the Confederate hand-cranked submarine H.L. Hunley. Now, the problem is both ships sank and people died. So the one that did the ramming sank, and the one that got rammed sank. That was a win. That was a lose-lose for everybody. 1801, the U.S. House of Representatives broke an electoral tie between Thomas Jefferson and Aaron Burr, electing Jefferson president. Burr became vice president. In 1815, the United States and Britain exchanged the instruments of ratification for the Treaty of Ghent, ending the War of 1812. In 1865, during the Civil War, Columbia, South Carolina bumped as the Confederates evacuated, it burned, as the Confederates evacuated the Union forces, and the Union forces moved in. Okay? Confederate yeah. Anyway, also in 1865, Congress lied. They had the Freedmen Act, where everybody's going to, that thing about 40 acres and a mule, where that came from that year, and the next year they recanted and they screwed us over. Oh, well, can't believe them. You couldn't believe them then, and you can't believe them now. 1897, the forerunner to the National PTA, the National Congress of Mothers, convened its first meeting in Washington, D.C. In 1933, Newsweek magazine was first published under the title Newsweek, okay, which is what they still call it today. 1944, during World War II, U.S. forces invaded, now, if I mess this name up, don't forgive me, but it won't be the first time, in Inuiatak Atoll, encountering little initial resistance from the Imperial Japanese troops. The Americans secured the atoll less than a week later. In 1947, the Voice of America began broadcasting to the Soviet Union. In 1968, the original Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame, located on the campus in Springfield College in Massachusetts, was open to the public. In 1972, President Richard M. Nixon departed the White House with his wife, Pat, on a historic trip to China. He'll always be remembered for that. In 1986, Johnson & Johnson announced it would no longer sell over-the-counter medicines in capsule form, following the death of a woman who had taken a cyanide-laced Tylenol capsule. The year was 1988. Lieutenant Colonel William Higgins, the Marine Corps officer serving as the United Nations Truce Monitoring Group, was kidnapped in southern Lebanon by Iranian-backed terrorists, and he was later slain by his captors. 1996, world chess champion Gary Kasparov, whatever his name is, beat the IBM supercomputer Deep Blue, winning 6-game match in Philadelphia. However, Kasparov lost to Deep Blue in the rematch in 1997. And 10 years ago, President Barack Obama signed a mammoth $787 billion economic stimulus package into law. And we haven't paid that one back yet either. And we ain't paid Trump's back. We ain't going to pay Biden's back. We're just going to keep printing that money till it's all worth nothing. All right? Move right along. 1 year ago, President Donald Trump's National Security Advisor, H.R. McMaster, told a conference in Germany that there was now incontrovertible evidence of a Russian plot to disrupt the 2016 U.S. election. Well, wait. That was Hillary Clinton. Okay, that wasn't the Russians. That was Hillary Clinton. Okay, and the Clinton people. That's who was trying to do this. So we need to get that off the Russians. Okay, see, the Clintons are the ones who kept pushing that it was the Russians, because they knew that they were the people that was interfering with our quote unquote democracy. Okay, they knew. Matter of fact, if it were me, I'd put her in jail for treason. I mean, seriously. But we won't do that because she's a Democrat, and that's the way things go in this country now. But really, I mean, what they did was treasonous. Okay, anybody involved in that, scandalizing the president's name. He's in bed with the Russians, and now we find out, thanks to the Durham report, now we find out it was the Clintons. Oh yeah, who put that junk out? Yeah, somebody ought to go to jail for treason. Really, I mean that about an attack on our Constitution. Yeah, I think that's the way it ought to be. Anyway, gotta run. So we'll be back hopefully with Rabbi Luber's interview, and then we have him at 8 o'clock. And well, it's not a very long; it's just a short piece. We'll be back.
On News Radio 1440.
Good morning. I'm Judd Davis. Here's what's happening in the news on this Thursday. The House Public Safety Committee approved controversial legislation to end the requirement for a person to get a permit.
And that's a dumb law.
It now moves to the full Alabama House for consideration. Many law enforcement officials don't like the law, saying permits provide a crucial tool to combat crime and enhance public safety.
That's right.
Argue that people shouldn't have to pay a fee to carry a concealed handgun. Gas prices continue to rise, up 2 cents in the last 24 hours. AAA reporting the current national average sits at $3.51 a gallon. Gas is up 5 cents in just last week. In Alabama, the average is $3.26 a gallon, up 7 cents in the last week. And some news from the Olympics. USA's women's hockey team has won the silver in the Winter Olympics. Team USA lost to Canada last night in the gold medal game, 3-2. That's your news on this Thursday morning. I'm Jeff Davis for WSFA 12 News.
News Radio 1440, WLWI AM, the home of the Dan Bongino Show. Also on 95.1 HD3 FM. This is the CBS World News Roundup, sponsored by Rocket Mortgage.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. The U.S. is directly refuting this morning's new claim by Russia about its troop buildup around Ukraine's borders. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin's just spoken from Brussels.
The Russians say that they are withdrawing some of those forces now that exercises are complete, but we don't see that.
Secretary Austin says the truth is quite the opposite.
We see some of those troops inch closer to that border. We see them fly in more combat and support aircraft.
He says reports of shelling in eastern Ukraine are troubling. U.S. and NATO officials still insist an invasion could be imminent. New COVID cases have fallen more than 90% since the peak of the Omicron surge. In the past 2 weeks, 11 states and Washington, D.C. have rolled back mask mandates in schools. One district outside Philly has not. Correspondent Mona Lengi is in Berwyn, Pennsylvania.
The debate over wearing masks here at Conestoga High School recently spilled onto social media. Hundreds of online comments, even a few potential threats, led the school district to close the school on Monday, moving instruction online. The school district since January. They've been consulting with local health officials, exploring ways to move away from universal masks.
A nasty winter storm's begun pounding the nation's midsection. Weather Channel meteorologist Jim Cantor.
To get severe weather this afternoon, especially between 12 and 7. That looks like a hotspot. Eastern Arkansas, parts of Mississippi, Alabama.
That's right.
Nobody responds to that area of getting a tornado today.
In Brazil,
Right. They respond, but I don't want to hear.
They've been down the alleyway and had that guy.
torrential rains unleashed
I know,
massive
work bans and
landslides.
stuff.
Confirmed
I've had these shoes for 5 years and I
Federal
cannot wear them out. I've been trying to come up with reasons for them away. I just can't.
The government has
Really
354
Yeah.
complaints of Model
But they
3
just,
and Model
I
Y
did just,
Teslas stopping for
yeah,
what
there's
apparent
nothing wrong
reasons,
with that.
often
I
at
can't wear 'em
highway
out.
speeds. One common thread, they all have Tesla's autopilot partial automation system. No injuries or crashes have been reported. It's too early to tell. This will lead to a recall.
Maybe this aging thing isn't so bad after all. Harvard business professor Arthur Brooks is focused on the second half of life.
You actually get another success curve, but it's more about wisdom. It's more about passing on knowledge. It's more about teaching.
He's 57. His new book, From Strength to Strength, sold out in a single day on Amazon this week. S&P futures are down 13. Dow futures off 78. This is CBS News.
Presented by Rocket Mortgage. Whether you're looking to purchase a new home, refinance yours, Rocket Mortgage can help you get there. For home loan solutions that fit your life, Rocket can.
Exergen would like you to know about an important study just released by the FDA. It confirms what the medical community has known all along. Non-contact thermometers are not accurate. The study also reports that they fail to meet FDA requirements for accuracy in labeling. We can't afford to tolerate the rampant false temperature readings from non-contact thermometers. Accurate temperature measurements are essential. You need Exergen thermometers because they are accurate and backed by over 100 clinical studies. Be sure, be accurate with Exergen. Learn more at Exergen.com.
You can unlock more cash than you realize from your home's equity with a cash out refinance today. In the last year, average home values have gone up nearly 20%. And with Rocket Mortgage, you can unlock thousands in less than 3 weeks. But you've got to act right now before rates go up. So when you're looking to unlock the cash in your home, Rocket can. Call 833-8-ROCKET today or go to rocketmortgage.com to get started. Rates current as of 12/21. Call for cost information and conditions. Housing and license already states the list is access at over 30 call the number 01233 for disclosures and cost information.
Major League Baseball players and owners are scheduled for another round of negotiations today.
Major League pitchers and catchers were to have reported to spring training by now in Arizona and here in Florida. Instead, they're still locked out, although the Players Union says it has a response to the owner's last offer presented on Saturday. That offer included a mix of the old and new. Both sides are far apart on luxury tax issues involving payrolls. Other issues involve revenue sharing and the manipulation of service time, which affects a young player's eligibility for arbitration and free agency. This is day 78 for the lockout. Peter King, CBS News, Orlando.
It's one way to get paid time off. A former official at Georgia's Vocational Rehabilitation Agency's gotten the boot after faking a pregnancy so she could take maternity leave. The Inspector General's office says Robin Folsom claimed she gave birth last May, 2 months after a coworker noticed her fake pregnancy belly detaching from her body. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
I know you wanna leave.
Hey, are we doing the same as usual? Yeah. How's your baby girl doing?
She's great, but with 3 kids, you really need more space.
You should check out Guardian Credit. We got a home equity line of credit consultants, and they're checking. We have low rates and pay to invest in your Really? Yeah, our mom got a Guardian home loan to buy her house. They refinanced.
Thanks. I'll check them out.
Connect with Guardian for all your lending needs.
That dinner was delicious. What's next?
I'm thinking just the check.
Do you frequently have gas, bloating, diarrhea, stomach pain, or loose oily stools after eating? One or more of these symptoms could be a sign of exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, and it may be time to talk to your doctor.
If you have EPI, Creon may be right for you. Creon, pancrelipase, is an oral prescription medication that treats EPI. Creon replaces enzymes you may be missing to help you break down food properly.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosis and colonopathy.
You're back.
Yeah. Capsules are
I'm back and forth
today. Tell your doctor if you have unusual or severe stomach pain, bloating, trouble passing stool, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, worsening of painful swollen joints, or allergic reactions. Other side effects may include changes in blood sugars, gas, dizziness, or sore throat and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon.
Talk to your doctor about Creon, the #1 prescribed EPI treatment, and visit gocreon.com. That's GOCREON.com, or call 1-800-633-9110.
Telling it like it really is. It's the Dan Bongino Show, weekdays from 11 to 2 on News Radio 1440. Your WSFA First Alert weather forecast on News Radio 1440.
This report is sponsored by Dell Technologies.
Dell's President's Day event has arrived, and it's time to unleash your fun side. For a limited time, save up to $250 on select tech, like Alienware and XPS PCs with Intel Core processors. Get started at Dell.com/President's Day or by calling 800-BUY-DELL.
Another unseasonably warm day on the way. Temperatures up to 77 degrees today. There will be a lot more clouds than sun, and it will be windy all day. A wind advisory in effect for wind gusts of 30 to 45 miles an hour. Most of the day is dry, although I can't rule out a couple of showers, perhaps a storm this morning into the afternoon. But after 5 o'clock in the evening, a line of rain and storms pushes through. Some of those could be strong and severe with high wind gusts. We're dry and cooler for Friday.
That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Tyler Seabury for News Radio 1440.
Montgomery Skywatch traffic brought to you by Brubaker Motors. It's better at Brubaker on News Radio 1440.
Good morning, Montgomery. The good news continues on this Thursday. No major problems or accidents have been reported that would send anyone on an alternate route. You keep listening. We'll keep you posted with the latest and the most accurate traffic conditions on the radio. If you're ready to buy or refinance your home and you want the lowest rates, the best customer service, and the fastest closings, there's only one company. Call MCS in Wetumpka, 567-9000, NMLS 232876. Buckle up, it's the law. For Montgomery Skywatch traffic, this is Major Delay.
You love your car, yes, but why are you not loving it with those tires that carry you and your family everywhere? Let Chico's Auto Pros show some love with our super savings on tires. Chico's Auto Pros.
When Hank Aaron broke Babe Ruth's record with his 715th home run in April 1974, announcer Vince Scully let the crowd roar for a minute and a half. Then he said, "What a marvelous moment for the country and the world. A black man is getting a standing ovation in the Deep South for breaking a record of an all-time baseball idol. It's a great moment for all of us."
It was not fame I sought, but rather to be the best baseball player that I can possibly be.
This is the late baseball legend, Hank Aaron, during Black History Month.
That dinner was delicious. What's next?
I'm thinking just the check.
Do you frequently have gas, bloating, diarrhea, stomach pain, or loose oily stools after eating? One or more of these symptoms could be a sign of exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, and it may be time to talk to your doctor.
If you have EPI, Creon may be right for you. Creon, pancrelipase, is an oral prescription medication that treats EPI. Creon replaces enzymes you may be missing to help you break down food properly.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosing colonopathy, a rare bowel disorder. Do not chew capsules or contents as this may cause mouth irritation. Tell your doctor if you have unusual or severe stomach pain, bloating, trouble passing stool, nausea, vomiting, worsening of painful swollen joints, or allergic reactions. Side effects include changes in blood sugars, gas, dizziness, and there's nothing but Creon.
Talk to your doctor about Creon, the #1 prescribed EPI treatment, and visit gocreon.com. That's GOCREON.com, or call 1-800-633-9110.
Attention men, have you ever been embarrassed when the time was right, but you just couldn't perform? Now there's hope. The secret starts with a visit to Montgomery Men's Health. Men from 21 to 93 are performing better than before, even when the pills don't work. Their urologist, Dr. Tom Alderson, is using treatments that can help you perform for 30 minutes to an hour and a half of full male performance.
Who wants to do that for an hour and a half? Come on, man. If it takes that long, don't do it.
Give them a call, even if the pills haven't worked, or you have a medical issue like heart problems or prostate issues. If you have erectile dysfunction and want to perform much better, call now. 334-440-3663. That's 334-440-3663. Or go to MontgomeryMen'sHealth.com. Get your confidence back. 334-440-3663. That's 334-440-3663. See website for more information like side effects, treatments extra. Results may vary. MontgomeryMen'sHealth.com.
Did you know that Alabama law requires all pets to be currently vaccinated against rabies? This is State Public Health Veterinarian D. Jones. Rabies vaccination not only protects dogs and cats from
what time you supposed to come?
It also reduces the risk to the owners who can unknowingly be exposed
Can we do it tomorrow?
pets. Help us protect you, your family.
Because I forgot I got this rabbi
Getting them vaccinated
coming up,
today.
and I forgot. I knew the secretary does. That's just what I knew. But all right, thanks, man. Okay. Okay, thanks. Okay. You know, I did it again, right? I did it again. I did it one more again. I invited two people at the same time without looking at my calendar. I did that. I did it because I was going to have Will Dismutes come up, but hopefully he'll be here tomorrow. I don't think I got anybody. If I got anybody, did I invite anybody tomorrow? I hope not. Something like that. If I did, my bad. Anyway, so I'm supposed to get him. Of course, he can come in with it. Maybe we just have like a party up here or something. Anyway, good morning to you. But coming up next hour, it is going to be Rabbi Looper from Temple Bear Or. I think that's how you. Okay, I don't want to mess up the name. See, I think these names, people come up with names that I can't pronounce on purpose. But if I thought about it for a couple of minutes and said it about 12 times consecutively, then I could, I could do the name thing. Kind of like the John Williams things over the Mortgage Corporation of the South, the NMLS number, whatever that is. I know what it is, but my mind and what it used to be these days. Anyway, good morning to you. Now, I'm only going to play this for the time being because give you some background on when Rabbi gets here, because we've been talking in the last couple of weeks about Whoopi Goldberg and the Jewish population, and it seems that there's an intimidation factor, at least to me, that you're not supposed to say anything or disagree with the Jewish people, and I just find that to be un-American. If in fact that's what it is. Now, if that's our own thinking, then that's one thing. So anyway, so I went to the source, to Rabbi Looper, and asking that because I do believe that Whoopi Goldberg, even though I cannot stand that woman, I can't. I don't like her politics. I don't like her philosophy, if she even has one. All the whining all the time. I don't like that either. However, fair is fair. Fair is fair. Just same way I am. Well, I can't believe I'm defending two women at the same time. Same way I am about the chief of police right now. I think we should have gave her a shot first. Gave her the job. She's doing the job. Why not keep the job? So maybe they never had any intention on giving her the job to begin with. But I don't know. Maybe she don't want the job. We don't know that. But I don't know. I think she did. Else why take it? But anyway, fair is fair. I don't have to agree with you. I don't have to agree with you to try to be fair with you, okay? So anyway, so what I did was the other day, last week, I think this was on the, it was last week, I believe, sometime, and we were talking, and we were on the phone, and we recorded the interview on the phone, and then now I'm gonna let you listen, and then I'm gonna let you. He's gonna come up here on 8 o'clock. So all the questions everybody wants to ask about and the first question was. And here's because I didn't record the initial question. The first question was, is being Jewish, is it a religion? Is it an ethnicity? Or is it a culture? And so I'll let him and then that was the question, and you're gonna catch us right in the middle right as that question is asked. Take it away.
Were exiled from a specific place. And in fact, Jews as a people of faith are found throughout the world. So it's not like you could say, oh, they're Romanian, or, we know that race anyway is an artificial construct.
Right.
You might could talk about that. But beyond that, it's Judaism, even though we have an ancient language, and even though we have this ancient calendar, right? Jews continue to be citizens or people within a multiplicity of countries. So there's Jews from Africa, there's Jews from Asia, there's Jews from Europe, right? Jews are found throughout the world. So and we have no, even though there's the state of Israel, and even we call it like the Jewish state, it is not our national state. Like, I'm a citizen of the United States. That's my nation. I have a connection to Israel because I'm a Jew, but it is certainly not, as has been suggested by our former presidents and many other people, right? That, that's our country. It's not. So that's the canard of dual loyalty. It's what if you think about it, one can convert to be a Jew, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you convert to be like a citizen of another country?
Yes, you can actually.
You can gain citizenship.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But we're talking about like a religious, in other words, following a religion. We're not saying, in other words, to be a Jew, you have to then follow a religious faith. It's not like, how does one, like, you could say I'm a Romanian, so I'd go back to Romania, and I'm not sure why I'm saying that today. But like a citizen of any country, state of the United States, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't define the religious, that doesn't define who you are religiously. We have Christians, we have Muslims, we have Hindus, we have people from all faiths, right? Baha'i, all that, right? So being an American, as Jews can be, since we live in the United States, right?
Right.
That defines, that's our nation. But our religion is, right, it's not, like, it doesn't change if you become an American citizen.
Right. Okay. One of the other things that I've just wondered, and I'm going to try to be genteel when I ask this question.
No, you can. No, I don't want you to be genteel. I want you to ask me straight up, because that way, because otherwise we dance around it.
Right.
I'd rather just.
Okay. Well, good. There seems to be, if you say something negative about Jewish people, that we don't have the right to disagree with the Jewish with Jewish people because they are Jewish. And I find that most un-American thing, the whole Whoopi Goldberg thing, I think she was wrong in the way she presented her case. But I also think they're kind of screwing her over a little bit because they didn't quite understand. She did not articulate it the way it should have been articulated. But if is the Jewish people in the world persona non grata to criticism?
Oh no, not at all. I think that what we experience or what we see from the response, right, is again that conversation around race, right? Is the Jew a white person? I mean, that's what Whoopi Goldberg suggested, right? It's white on white.
Right.
But as I said, Jews are a religious group, and we are multi-ethnic.
Okay, and I got that part. Yeah, I got that part.
To say that a Jew is like, and I think that's a big issue, right? We're not a race. We are found, and there were Jews from the Middle East, right? There are Jews, but there were Jews that were in Yemen, Jews that are in Iran, Jews in Iraq, Jews in Syria, right? Does that doesn't, like, if we think about it, do we define those people as white people?
Well, from a black person's perspective, I understood what she was saying, because as far as I'm concerned, when two white guys are walking down the road, one be a Jew, one be a Russian, we don't know by looking what you are. As a black person, you do look white to us. And so whether you're...
I get that, but so my challenge is go to the Middle East and look at Jews.
Mm.
Come to our congregation and see the Jews that are from the island of Rhodes.
Okay.
That are Sephardic Jews. Look at my family history of Jews in Holland, right? Our skin tone is different. So you can say that, but I think that's a misunderstanding. In other words, it's a simplification that Jews are white. A lot of Jews that you experience are white, but there are black Jews.
Right.
Jews aren't white. So how can you be a Jew and black and say, look at the race difference, right?
Right.
It doesn't make sense. There are black rabbis. So what is that person? Right? That person is a person of faith. They're Jewish.
Right. I got that part. I got the
By
faith.
our definition of race, they're a black person.
Right. So being a Jew,
I think it becomes an oversimplification.
And I believe it is.
The problem.
But being a Jew, just to make sure I clarify this, being a Jewish person is one who believes in the Jewish dogma.
Well, okay, that is correct, but you have to be cautious there because Judaism is a broad-ranging faith. In other words, what's your faith?
A Christian, I think that's what I've been told.
Okay. Is there one form of Christianity?
Now, you're right about that. No, we got plenty.
There is not. Is there one form of baptism?
No, not even there.
No way. No, 70 plus, right?
Yeah.
Ways you can be baptized. So what I caution again is when we speak about any religious faith, it's really important not to look upon them as a monolith.
Okay.
Right? So my belief as a Jew is different than an Orthodox view. And one group of Orthodox Jews are different from another group of Orthodox Jews, right? You can go from New Age to ultra, traditional.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I would like to, just to redefine that, to redefine your question, because it's not that simple. But go ahead, ask your question.
Well, I think I did, but I was just,
yeah.
And so here's what I get out of this.
So
all black people, all black people don't look alike. We don't believe the same thing, but we all are, as race, as a construct of race, they call us black. Now I don't have to believe.
Okay.
But
there are black people of all different colors too, right?
That's only because we had a lot of mixing going on back in the day. But yeah.
That is true. That might be true, but if you look at Egyptians, right? Or ancient Jews, right?
Right.
Jesus was not a white man. He was, Roman paintings make him a white man. But
right.
He was a Middle Eastern individual. That wasn't his skin color.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So that's important to note. We shouldn't get caught up in the white Christian paradigm.
I got you. Do you feel that Whoopi Goldberg is getting fair treatment?
I think that her comments about white on white, she doesn't that's wrong.
Okay.
She missed that.
Okay.
And she also missed the concept that that the Nazis did not see Jews as part of the Aryan race.
Mm.
So it wasn't white on white. It wasn't again, that's an oversimplification that all white people get along, right? But then we look at Ireland, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have wars, right? They're both white,
yeah,
but they're different. You have the Catholics and the Protestants. So just to say, well, they're whites fighting whites is way off, and it's a misunderstanding that Jews are multi-ethnic. It might, and it's also a misunderstanding, as I said before, given the eugenics that were applied in Nazi Germany.
Gotcha.
About Jews being a different, they were subhuman.
Okay.
So when she went to that, I'm trying to help you understand why the Jewish response to that would be one of outrage.
Okay.
So I understand where she's coming from, but I think that she was really simplistic in just saying, all white people are that's just what they are. That's one thing. Also, I would say that I might be able to define myself by my skin color as a white person, but that's not a part of my Jewishness. Jews Jews don't define themselves as saying we're white, we're this, we're that. Jews are a religion. Just like a black person can be a Muslim, and a black person can be a Christian,
Right.
a black person can be Baha'i, all those things.
Right. Right.
So what I'm trying, so that, her expression bought into this whole, like, I think she accidentally tripped into it, but this whole canard about Jews as a race and Jews being disloyal, right? If you're a race, you can't be part of art, you can't be American, you can't be German, you can't be fully anything, because there's this question about dual loyalty. And she stepped into that pile pretty big, without knowing it.
Right.
So, on the other hand, it's important. She was on she has a national audience.
Right.
And so I think it's really important to be able to have that conversation. And I get where she was coming from, but she was mistaken by her statement when she said, I don't understand. It's just white people fighting white people, and it's about one group's inhumanity towards another. And yes, it was one group humanity, but it wasn't just the Germans, right? And if we're honest about it, like, it didn't just spring out. Like, Jew hatred has been existent for a long time. If we look at the roots of Christianity, right? Christianity as a faith, it might have been the national religion of Rome, right? But they were Romans with this religion. And so I think that we should look at Judaism that way too, right?
Okay.
And to understand that the faith of this group was Judaism, but it wasn't their national identity, right?
Gotcha.
So Romans, the New Testament makes the Jews the killer of Jesus, right? It's theocide. And so as long as you perpetuate that, right, and that hatred, so we have to go back to religious perspectives, it's not a racial perspective.
Okay. So it seems, so let me,
Jew was excluded in many ways.
right. Let me see if I can put this up in a nutshell. So what it seems to me is that the Nazis categorized all Jewish people as one race of people, so they could take out their inhumanity to Jewish people. So it had nothing to do with where you were from. It is what you believe, and they pretty much said, well, if you believe in Judaism, then you're part of the whole family.
Right. I mean, they said, I can't remember if it was 1/8 Jewish that, in other words, if you had a Jew in your family.
Right.
So, like, it sort of goes back to that question, right? If we talked about the rape of the black woman, right? Is the offspring white, or is the offspring still black?
Are they a little bit of both?
I don't know.
How
would you define that? I mean, it's a lighter skin, is a clearly, right, a lighter skinned black person who we could say, oh, that's, that's because they were raped. Does that make them white or black?
Well, now, according to the old standard, if you had 1% of black blood in you, you were considered black.
Right, but that's not your definition.
Right.
Someone else.
Yeah, somebody else's definition. Yeah.
And so, right.
Yeah.
So Judaism, it goes back to this whole thing of, it's not about, Jews were not a race. Jews were that were lifted up as the cause of a country's ill, right? At least with Germans.
Right. Okay.
But you have all sorts of stuff. You have like the protocols of the elders of Zion out of Tsar's Russia, which says Jews are in control, right? There's this cabal that we control the world, right? I mean, it's just, that's absurdity. But if so, like in Germany after World War I, Germany was reduced to an impoverished population. And that's why after World War II, you have the Marshall Plan,
right?
Where you rebuild these countries so that doesn't happen again. So, but it goes back to, again, Jews are not a race. Jews were looked upon by the Nazis, picking up on American concepts of eugenics, right? That somehow you could define a Jew by looking at them, which was completely wrong, right?
Right.
It's because, what is that definition? Again, we've had this whole conversation about Jews being multiracial, right? How do you define that? It's like saying, black people are deficient. But black people are all from different countries. Black people do not all look the same, right?
No.
I can say if you're from Ethiopia, your bone structure is different. If you're from Egypt, your bone structure is different. It's like even from, being in Africa, not all Africans look the same, right?
Right.
So, it just goes back to that whole, like, the problem with races is it's an artificial creation and it's used in a negative fashion, as a categorization of who is superior and who is inferior. Right. And so I'm not even gonna, like, I don't even like to talk about that from my perspective.
Right.
But again, I think the hard part is, right, is that if we look biblically, you have this group of people, right? And they have hegemony over a land. And then they have this God, right? So that's could be their national God, or everyone had a God. In fact, I'm writing about that right now, right? That whether you were a pagan or a monotheist, or, if you were, Egyptian, right? That you had your pantheon of gods. Every group had that, because that gave you power.
Right.
But there weren't specific countries or just large amalgamated groups that fought together.
Okay. And we're going to take a little break, and we'll be back. Hold on, Rabbi. We'll be right back after this. Oh, mercy, mercy me.
Marker 150, that's just south of Leetahatchee. We've got a car versus a deer, cars in the median. Thanks for one of my Twitter followers, that update. Also, we've got a moderate accident, Highway 14 at 143 in Wetumpka. So Highway 14 at Highway 143 in Wetumpka, we've got an accident reported there. Please use caution, avoid that area. Otherwise, we're looking good. Keep listening. Get the Toyota you've always wanted at Reinhardt Toyota. They're on the East Boulevard, or you can shop online at reinhardttoyota.com. Buckle up, it's the law. From Montgomery Skywatch Traffic, this is Maker to
You love your car, yes. But why are you not loving it with those tires that carry you and your family everywhere? Let Chico's Auto Pros show some love with our super savings on tires. Chico's Auto Pros.
Ron's woofing knows that when a storm damages your roof, it's hard to know what to do next. Easy. Rely on the most trusted and recognized roofing name, Ron's Roofing. They'll help protect you from the next storm. Ron's Roofing understands that your roof is your home's first line of defense. That's why they work with all insurance companies to ensure that your home is protected from any unexpected storms. A job won't get the Ron's Roofing name on it unless it's done right. Visit ronsroofing.com or call 215-0070.
I struggled with symptoms like frequent gas and stomach pain for years.
I was bloated all the time with daily diarrhea.
At first, I thought it was what I was eating.
I kept thinking it was stomach issues.
So I did my research and talked to my doctor, and we finally uncovered the truth.
It was actually EPI. Exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, is a condition where your pancreas is unable to help break down your food.
It can lead to symptoms like diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, unexplained weight loss, and oily stools.
And EPI symptoms can be confused with those of other common digestive conditions, like irritable bowel syndrome, Crohn's, and celiac disease.
So getting to the right diagnosis meant being more open with my doctor about the severity of my symptoms and how often they were happening.
But there's good news. EPI is manageable, so don't wait any longer. Use the symptom checker at identifyepi.com and schedule a visit or call with your doctor to ask, could I have EPI?
Sponsored by AbbVie.
Have you been putting off projects on your property, waiting for the right time to buy a tractor? Come see us at SunSouth. We'll help you find the quality John Deere tractor with the implements to meet your needs. Owning a John Deere from SunSouth is more affordable than ever with 0% financing for 72 months on select models. So why wait to tackle tough jobs on your property? Come see us for your John Deere at SunSouth. Equipment for those that do.
Some restrictions apply. See dealer if offers expires February 28th. Cancellation.
That dinner was delicious. What's next?
I'm thinking just the check.
Do you frequently have gas, bloating, diarrhea, stomach pain, or loose body stools after eating? One or more of these symptoms could be a sign of exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, and it may be time to talk to your doctor.
If you have EPI, Creon may be right for you. Creon, pancrealipase, is an oral prescription medication that treats EPI. Creon replaces enzymes you may be missing to help you break down food properly.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosing colonopathy, a rare bowel disorder. Do not chew capsules or contents as this may cause mouth irritation. Tell your doctor if you have unusual or severe stomach pain, bloating, trouble passing stool, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, worsening of painful swollen joints, or allergic reactions. Other side effects may include changes in blood sugars, gas, dizziness, or sore throat and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon.
Talk to your doctor about Creon, the #1 prescribed EPI treatment, and visit gocreon.com. That's GOCREON.com, or call 1-800-633-9110.
Make your mark with historic savings during the President's Day event at Tennessee Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Save big on your new Ram truck. They have more coming every day. And be presidential. And the all-new wagon is here now and ready for you. Plus, your trade-in has never been worth more. Give you the most for your trade-in. The best vehicles are always at Tennessee Automotive.
Okay, now we're going to have a conversation. But he'll be here at 8 o'clock, so that'll be fine.
He is the voice of the conservative millennial, the Ben Shapiro Show.
They're not going to be willing to keep the government shut down.
Today at 3 p.m. on News Radio 1440.
I got some more of that interview, but he's going to be here at 8 o'clock. So just wanted to give you guys a feel of the conversation that we had last week. Now, he'll be up here around 8 o'clock or so and takes any of your calls, your comments, anything that you want to ask him, Rabbi Looper. So, we'll talk to him when he gets here. But I just wanted to give you a feel of where we were going the other day. Because I still don't quite understand the whole dogma and the whole concept. But, we can ask him questions if we want to. All right. Anyway, you can give us a call, 860-1440, whatever's on your mind. I'm not going to go back, but I will put the after the show, we'll probably podcast it so you guys can listen at your leisure. Okay. 860-1440, a lot of things going on in the House of Representatives right now. We'll just finish the rest of the show out on some current things that are going on here. One of the things that they're doing, and that is, to let everybody walk around with a concealed weapon, it's got to be the dumbest thing I ever heard. Really, we don't need to pay people $50,000 a year to make that kind of decision. I'm just telling you, we do not need to do that. That's crazy. I mean, we got fools already walking around with guns killing people. Now we're just gonna tell everybody have a free fall. Let's say you go into Walmart, right? Somebody yell gun, everybody pull theirs out. Come on, man. Now, that is not a very smart move. I'm with the sheriff on this one. Good morning. Who's this? Yes. Fine. Well, he'll be here at 8 o'clock to explain. Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. Right.
Get in it, but I'll read in my Bible. I think Genesis 32nd chapter, and the 35th verse, I believe. Jacob they changed his name to Israel. Okay, that was Abraham's grandson. So that's what it confused me. So he said they're not a race of people. You have black Jews. They don't talk about it over here. And one thing he said was true though. He said the country of Israel, not necessarily his home country. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's confusing. But anyway, I don't even know.
Well, yeah.
But you can't say nothing about him now.
Well, now I asked that question. He well, yes, he said no, they're not above questioning.
But you can't say nothing about him. And another thing about it, now this is fact. Y'all say fact. The United States did not fight the Jews. It's over in Germany, right? Hitler, right?
Right. Well.
The United States gave them $1 billion.
But they are allies.
Well, I like them curse, man. Look, we are citizens of the United States, and they got money sitting here for it coming to the black and brown and poor white community.
Yeah, but that's got nothing to do with that's got nothing to do with those guys over there. Yeah.
No. What I'm saying, these same white folks that give Israel billion, they don't want to give this little money to poor folks. Come on, man.
Right, but that's because we got thieves that are running our government.
No. You let alone. Now you just went along with what he was saying. Now I'm talking because that affects me and mine.
Yeah, but listen, if they didn't give that money, to them, they'd give it to somebody else. At least they are allies over there. Yeah. They giving us money. We ain't spending it. Yeah, we got it. Right. But the money is here. They just ain't spending it.
The brother he said that your white conservative friend didn't vote for that in Washington, D.C.
Okay, but it's here. So who cares what the money's here.
The white representatives said they people didn't need no money.
I know, but they lied. We got the money, though. Well, we got the money. It's here. It's here, though. But who cares what they said? Who cares what they said?
You see, you want to come up for them.
No, not. But the money's here.
Yeah, but they say they didn't tell people in it. We need the money.
We do. I agree.
But they said people didn't need it.
Well, they lied. I can't, but the money's here, so what they said doesn't matter.
They stopping our representatives from bringing money into our community.
Who said so? Have you heard any of your except for Isaiah Sankey? Have you heard any of your representatives talk about it? Well, we're not arguing, but I mean.
The other black won't even come on the radio and tell you. They won't say.
Right, so don't blame white folks for that. Don't blame white folks for that. I don't care what. Because I'm not defending people, but if the money, so what? They ain't talking for everybody, and I do too.
Community,
okay.
poor white and brown,
If anything left, we'll give it to them.
I agree with you. I agree with you. But listen, let me ask you something. Besides Isaiah, has any of our city councilmen, any of our other county commissioners came on the air and tell us why this money is having except for the money going to Levitate and the money going to the chamber, why isn't there been a check distributed to any other organization in this county? So that ain't Washington? Yes. And that's what I'm asking.
Hold on now, hold on. You had Melissa Snow and Melissa Snow up there the other day.
No, that was Charlotte Meadows, who's in the House of Representatives, right? Mm-hmm.
Why did you not have that? She's a representative.
Because she doesn't. No. She has nothing to do. Okay, I don't know. We got the money already.
She's a representative like Hatchet.
Okay.
And
They cannot tell us what to do with the money once it has been distributed to the county. Doesn't make any difference. She's not a county commissioner. And she did their due diligence to get the money to us. They got nothing to do with it. We got it. We got the money. All right.
$1 billion, and then, but we can't get our money.
We got the money.
But they tell them not to give us the money. That's why they don't want us to have the money.
We need to answer.
You tell them to call you now.
What?
And say why do they won't let the money come to us?
Okay. I'll call them and see what they got to say. All right. Appreciate it. Good morning. Who's this? Good morning.
$40-something thousand a month. The money's here. I mean, we're going around the elbow to get to the. I mean, the money is here. I mean, it's here, and they're spending it. They spend
$42,000. Yeah, 42,000. Yeah, 42,000. The city is paying 21,000, I think. The county's paying 21,000. The city is paying $20,800 something a month for them to tell us where we're in. Hey, Rabbi, you can have this.
So the question
this is a better
asked
chair.
to the Chamber of Commerce and City Council, why can't they disperse the money to the?
And that is the question, right? And that is the question that is on everybody's mind. But we know Levitate's getting this money. I'm with it for you in a few minutes here, Rabbi. Yeah. But we know somebody get. I mean, listen, Levitate's getting the money, which I guess is warranted. I don't know, but and the chamber got their piece. But why is it not one check has been distributed to the people of the county of Montgomery? I don't know.
Well, when you had the county commissioner on the other day, he said he didn't know.
Like, he didn't know. So if the county commissioner don't know who's on the county commission, then I know I don't know.
So how is a representative or somebody at the state level, if the money's been dispersed,
right,
and the county commission doesn't know how to, they don't know where, how are they going? I mean, it's just.
Which is what I was trying to tell Reverend Sankey. The representatives have nothing to do with how that money is distributed in the county of Montgomery or the city of Montgomery. They make sure we get it, we got it, bam. Now it's up to them to do so. I've never, 10 years, for 20 years I've been here, and they said, well, we don't have the money. We don't have the money. Okay, now we got the money. What's the excuse now? Oh, we got to pay $42,000 a month, so somebody tell us how we can spend the money.
The government business model is the best one in the world. It is so efficient and so effective.
You too. Let me see. Good morning. Who's this? Yes. Yes. Was Jesus a Jew? I guess. Yeah, I guess.
He was born.
He was born a Jew. Okay. But I got but the rabbi's gonna be here to answer all that questions at 8. I mean, he's here. Oh, okay. Well, don't you? Okay. Okay.
everybody put out their weapons, right?
Okay.
Now, who's the active shooter now?
Everybody. Everybody.
So that's going to create a lot of chaos, bro, when the police comes up on the scene and everybody's swinging.
And something like that happened in a mall a couple of years ago on Christmas Day. When the police came in, they saw a guy with a gun out and they popped him, but he was trying to protect somebody. And therein lies the problem.
Young black man with a gun, so you know that was a no-no.
Well, whether you black man or white man, you don't want to be you don't want the police to show up on the scene with a gun in your hand. Right.
That's not good for Alabama.
Yeah. All right. Hey, appreciate it. Let me see here. All right. Good morning. Who's this?
Good morning, Kevin. How you doing today, sir?
Fine.
I enjoyed listening to the rabbi on this morning talking about
let me get you set
what it is to be a Jew and what not to be a Jew, etc. But you know, we turn to the scripture. And if we look at Genesis chapter 15, this is where Abraham was declared righteous by God. And he said that a multitude of the world by every
when the mic is on, you can hear
become a Jew. And understand this, Genesis chapter.
Okay, but he'll be here in a few minutes, so no sense me trying to answer questions. You know, I can't answer. So you call back. Yeah, he's here already. So we're just gonna talk to him at 8. Okay, appreciate it. All right, appreciate you. If you can get back in. Good morning. Who's this?
Good morning.
Yes.
Where the line number is 557 419.
And what good is that going to do? What's good is that going to do anybody? Oh, wait, hold on. Let's get you back on there. Well, sorry about that. I didn't do that on purpose. Evidently, I hit the wrong button there. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes.
I say again, you say you're the man of the airways.
Oh, yeah.
Call him and get him the weekend. His number is 557 4196.
Right, but why do I want to call him?
Address is, you said you need to talk to the person that got the money.
We got the money.
District 2, City Council.
Oh, well, that's City Council. What? Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, I can because I had that kind of power. Yeah. Okay. All right. I do. Oh, I appreciate that. I got the number right here, right in my hand. Appreciate it. Good morning. Who's this? Fine.
You guessed the dawn, I'm sure.
No, he'll be on the 8 or 8:05, something like that.
Of that recent history, both from a proselyte standpoint, with one who had converted to Judaism that never dealt with the issue of the truth.
Hey, I'm just
Get around the bush about
right, but if you can get in next hour, then you can have that conversation with him because I'm stupid when it comes to that stuff, so I wouldn't tell you. I can't answer it. I don't historical knowledge or not. I don't know anything. That's why I brought him. That's why I asked him to come up here so he could so you guys could ask questions of him and not of me, of course, because I don't know Jack. Okay, I know Jack. Guy named Jack anyway. Come on, who's this?
Good morning, Kevin.
Yes.
Yeah, for the rabbi, probably can't get in, but I have a question, and it relates to him talking about being a Jew is multi-ethnicity, and that's the key. The black community is the same way, but we don't see it that way. We still, I don't know what it is. I look different than you, right? And it's been hell all my life, just trying to fit in. And we never will. As long
but that's because you're 6'9". I mean, come on, man.
So, Kevin, I have one question for the rabbi, and I enjoyed hearing him. I grew up in Clifton, Ohio, Clifton, Cincinnati, Rabbi, if you listen. Anyway,
there's an ethic, I believe you call it. The only way
Are you vaccinated?
that you can really be
Boosted?
a Jew is your mother. They do not go paternally. They use the mother to keep the
However,
line intact.
there's no guarantee
Ask
that
him
any of
to
that
explain
junk
that,
means anything.
If I hit on something.
So
that's all
I did it
want to
just for whatever. Okay, then. I really don't have time for any more questions. The rabbi will be here, so you guys can ask him questions. You know, I barely know how to get home, so I certainly can't answer any of your questions. Except, where's the money? I got a question like you guys have. Okay. Anyway, so we'll be back uno momento after these short time out for the news and all the other good stuff that we have going on in the morning. So hang on, and we'll be back.
So the reason I asked if you're vaccinated and boosted is I have my mask on. And
oh.
So I just want to know if I can talk with my mask on, or am I safe? Do I use one mic over the
other? Probably this one. Yeah, you probably want to. Let me move this chair out of the way. I don't know how I put this chair over here.
A piece of paper and a pen.
Yeah. Let me.
If people ask their questions.
Go get some paper. Got plenty of paper. Is it raining?
It was.
Gas prices continue to rise up 2 cents in the last 24 hours. AAA reporting the current national average sits at $3.51 a gallon. Gas is up 5 cents in just last week. In Alabama, the average is $3.26 a gallon, up 7 cents in the last week. And some news from the Olympics. USA's women's hockey team has won the silver in the Winter Olympics. Team USA lost to Canada last night in the gold medal game, 3-2. That's your news on this Thursday morning. I'm Jed Davis with WSFA 12 News.
WLWI AM, the home of the Ben Shapiro Show.
Yeah, I read an editorial that you did some time ago about the school board.
About the school board?
It has something to do with the schools.
Well, that was probably just my that I was on a co-chair on the naming.
Right. And renaming these schools are not going to change the behavior that goes on in them. So they can fool some people some of the time, but you can't fool all the
It's not meant to change the behavior. It's meant to change what it stands for. If you want to walk into Confederate figures all the time, you're choosing.
But it doesn't.
It
happened. It happened. What happened happened. We can't undo it. We can't unchange it.
Yeah, you can address it and redress it though.
Then why not make?
It's like Nazi Germany happened, right? Mm-hmm. Jews were killed. Mm-hmm. Do we just say, oh, we're not going to pay attention to it anymore?
No, but I don't think you. Any new institutions, any new schools you come up with, you name them something else. But everybody who graduates from these schools, it's always going to be either Jeff Davis, Lanier, or the other. It's always going to be that to them.
Yeah, that's where they went to school.
Right. So changing the name of it won't change the fact that it's still to them. It's still Jeff Davis. It's still Robert E. Lee.
But that doesn't address the greater issue. The greater issue is: do you want to have schools named in Alabama after Confederate generals?
Well,
do you want to have that? And do you want to?
It doesn't bother me.
Well, it bothers a lot of students, and it bothers a lot of people.
Most of the students can't even tell you the history of the people named after the school. They can't tell you.
Well, okay, so you had. I'm not one of your listeners. Okay,
I got you.
So I'm not going to go along with those type of answers. Okay, I'm going to tell you right away. Okay, so you can't talk to me that way.
Okay.
So you can try.
But the truth is the truth. I mean, they don't know the name. They could care less.
You know what? That's not the issue. I mean, you're taking it. Black. I know. I'm just telling you.
I'm black like every other black person.
I'm just telling you.
Don't bother me. Don't bother me.
I would find it a front.
Don't bother me.
Well, I know lots of people who find it.
I'm
glad that you feel that way.
But we have people who will complain about if it was raining.
I got 10.
Right. If it was raining, they would complain that the sun wasn't out. If the sun was out, they complain that it wasn't raining.
That's an obfuscation of.
But it's an absolute truth.
Deeper issue. I got it.
Okay.
That's an obfuscation of a deeper issue.
I do find it ironic.
Yeah, people complain about anything, but some things rise to the level of necessity to deal with, and some it's just a reality.
Why do you
Something's gonna
believe,
come
as a
out.
black man whose mother was born in Mississippi, got treated like I don't know what? Why do you think, as a black person, I find the conversation irrelevant if we rename a school after somebody who, at one point in time in the history of America, was a Confederate general? Why do you believe that does not bother me?
I would like to know.
Okay, because having traveled the world, having been in the South, the North, the West, I find that none of us are as good as we think we are, and none of them are as bad as everybody say they were. There's been good and bad in everybody. In Africa, they torture black folks. The black people torture black people.
Does that make it right?
I didn't say it was right, but I'm just saying we are never going to eliminate bad people by merely renaming the school. It just, to me, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Names mean a lot. It's what it represents. It's not about the name of a person. It's about the representation. If our state says if you tear down a Confederate monument, you got to pay $25,000, and now we're going to add 5,000. What is it? $5,000 a day? What does that say? What's the issue there? Why do you have to live with that legacy?
Because I believe.
Do you think the legacy of slavery is okay?
I think it is what it is. I think it is a legacy. It is what it is. And I got to tell you, having been
over slavery wrong?
Sure, yeah, sure. It sure was wrong. But
was it dehumanizing?
Sure it was.
Okay.
Sure it was. No doubt about it.
So any remnant of a celebration of it. In other words, why are these statues put up? Why are these monuments put up? Right? At what time are they put up? Those are a lot of really important questions to ask. And so if you just say, well, we'll just rename a school, that's a simple answer to a much larger question.
Do you believe any of those men, any of them, had any redeeming qualities?
I'm sure they did. It's not the individual. It's what that represents, right? It's a bigger issue. It's not saying Robert E. Lee or Jefferson Davis, right? It's that they were Confederate generals, that they were celebrated by a community, right? And they shouldn't. It's not. Therefore, you are condoning what they represented. That's the issue, not the person. And that's where I feel like that's the bigger issue.
Okay.
Right? It's not like just renaming a school, but naming a person, that's going to take care of everything. It doesn't take care of everything. Mm-hmm. You know, there's lots of systemic issues.
I think I don't really care if they rename it or not. My son goes to Robert E. Lee or Lee High School now. But the environment inside that school, in the traditional public schools, is atrocious. And renaming it just means we're just gonna rename the building. But it's like we have this lie about schools that fail. There's never been a school that has ever failed. What has failed is the people that run the school. So they make me take my child, take him someplace else, rather than get rid of the people who are either incompetent or lazy who run the school.
What has failed is the government supporting the schools. The public education support,
right? The human being
has been atrocious.
Right.
It's not the teacher. It's not the
they
could pay a heck of a lot more for teachers here. Okay. But it's how schools are financed. In 1955, you can drive around Montgomery, right? What schools have signs say found in 1955?
Right. But we sure learned a lot better then than we are now. We got more money now, and we're doing less. The accomplishments of our traditional schools are getting lower.
But then you're talking about much bigger issues. But let's just get on the radio.
Yeah. I always find it interesting. I always end up in these conversations with people about that.
I just we're not going to meet there on
that. No, because I don't really care. I just think it's a lot of noise, empty noise.
So names matter. Like that's what the Bible starts with, naming things. right? So names really matter.
While being okay with taking the lives of innocent babies in the ninth month of pregnancy.
But we got a couple minutes before we go on. Sorry.
That's called murder. And this mama,
Are you from Montgomery?
Grew up in California, lived in Chicago for 30 years, 31 years.
There's where that attitude came from.
It's not an attitude.
California.
No, there's lots of different people in California.
Oh, now listen, we don't agree on anything else today. We agree there's a lot of different people in California. It's the only state in America that I've ever been to that I never wanted to go back. It just, except San Diego. Love San Diego. Other than that, San Francisco is a bastion of just, you're talking about immorality. My God.
Why would you say that?
Well, that's where all this gayism crap started in America. And I just think it's crazy. What people do is their business, but to promote it, first of all,
I think that is a paranoid response.
But you're liberal, so I got you.
No, I just think that it's a paranoid response. I mean, that's the thing. That's what it was always thrown up. You know, oh, we can't have gay teachers because they're going to make our children gay. It's not. You know, I mean, it's such a misunderstanding of sexuality and gender. You know, it's just like
two genders. How can it be?
You can talk about that, but why do you think homosexuality is wrong?
Well, the good book said the Bible you brought it.
See, right? But that's a misinterpretation.
It said man should not lie with man, and women should not lie with women.
That's a misunderstanding of the text. In other words, if you read it simply, you can say that, but that's a misunderstanding. In other words, I'm not a scholar, but I know a heck of a lot more about that, right? Yeah. So I can look at the text and understand it in its context. Not saying this is the truth, because I don't believe that, you know, that's just divinely revealed. That's a big difference. Mm-hmm. But it's in a response to, in other words, if you look at the larger piece around, which is foreign, it says don't be like the other nations, right? So the other nations are doing that, right? So that's one thing. I wrote a whole piece. It's a whole different thing.
Weekdays from 11 to 2 on News Radio 1440.
Well, let me just go ahead on it. Okay, get you. Push it.
Close that?
Yeah, push it. And good morning, everybody. Hope this day finds you well, finds you feeling good. I've been promising you this. This is an interesting man, Rabbi Looper. He is is that like considered the head pastor of the of Temple Bethel? Or is that what you are with?
Yeah, I am the rabbi, so the only one. So I guess that makes me the senior.
And rabbi means what?
In teacher.
So you like,
although it's also an honorary term, Rav. That's what in ancient times instead of rabbi. Mm-hmm. So and Rav means like to be lifted up. Mm-hmm. So it's a term of respect.
Okay. Well, first of all, let me thank you for coming in, because for years I've been trying to get somebody from the Jewish faith to come on the air, and it's been a difficult task. And I understand some of it, the apprehension to want to do it sometimes. But we were talking, and I played some of the interview we did the other day, and people listened to it and they had questions about it. And and you tell me if this is a misnomer or not. And I don't know if you heard one guy say, well, you can't say anything about the Jewish people. You'll lose your job, you'll lose your house, you'll lose your car. I mean, so you can't say anything about the Jewish people. Do you find any truth in that statement?
Just in general? No, I think it's a wrong response. I think so. That's my answer.
Okay.
I think that if you speak, if you're a racist, if you have anti-Semitism, I mean, it depends upon, right? But that's your own speech, right? So if you're just talking about Jewish people, you're not gonna lose your job. I think that, again, that's sort of this conspiracy theory, which doesn't have.
Well, listen, I'm going to go to the phone. Somebody wants to talk to you, so I'm going to just let them have at it at the moment. Good morning, you're on air. Good morning, quickly. Barely, but go ahead and ask the question quickly. Okay, do you have a question for my guest? Ed, I got time to go through it. Do you have a question for the guest? I gave you a minute already. We did. Okay, you guys got to listen on the air to see who we talk to, what we're talking about when we're talking about it. 860-1440 is the number here. You want to give us a call? Love to talk to you, whatever on your mind. You guys have a book called is it the Talmud?
The Talmud.
The Talmud. It certainly has some difficult language in it if you are a Christian and you read it.
Mm-hmm.
And what would you say to Christians who find it demeaning language in it to Christianity? What would you tell them?
So my response is always you have to know context.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, like why does someone write something, right? What's it in response to? So I think that we make the mistake of often looking at a text and looking at it on a surface level
mm-hmm.
and saying, oh, it just says this, without understanding, without looking below, without looking to the side, without looking back. And so we can be offended by lots of things that are written. A Jew is offended when I look at the New Testament and read, a lot of things there that it has to say about Jews. Right? But if I understand it in context, in historical context, then I can start to make sense of it. It's not like I like it,
mm-hmm.
And if it's misused, it's dangerous.
What is in the New Testament that you can tell me that offends you with being a Jew?
Well, blaming Jews for the death of Jesus, that's untruth. So Jews didn't crucify Jesus; Romans crucified Jesus.
Right.
If you look at, as I understand, right, if I look at things historically, Rome adopts Christianity as its national religion, right? So the story, I would argue, would be rewritten to not show Rome as the offender. And so if you're going to blame, because that's not good if you want to be a national religion, right? So you have to change your perspective. So the Jews become the perpetrators, which leads to anti-Semitism and hatred and death.
Interesting. Good morning. You're on the air with Rabbi Looper.
Good morning. Rabbi, I was just trying to ask a question about Abraham. Was Abraham a Jew, and was his father Jew as well?
His father was not Jewish. If you read the story, well, there's actually rabbinic stories that talk about Abraham's father as an idolater. He made idols, in fact. So one could say, like, in terms of connection to God, covenantal relationship, God establishes a covenant with Abraham as the beginning. So one could say that he's sort of the progenitor of Judaism. In other words, with Abraham, you still don't have the giving of the Torah, right? You don't have any of the rules that define Judaism today. But you could say that.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, appreciate it. Okay, we're gonna take a break for a second here and get my good friend all the way from the mountaintop in Wetumpka, John Williams for Morris Corporation of the South. Good morning, John.
Hey, good morning, Kevin. It's Thursday morning already. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing fine.
Well, I tell you what, I'm doing fine too. So that's a good thing. So I guess that's our marching orders to move forward. We're doing fine. We woke up alive this morning. Woke up alive. That's kind of redundant. We woke up this morning, so we're good, and so we're going to go forward with another day. All right. So that being said, and that out of the way, let's talk about some things. I tell you in the morning, I normally talk about all the things we do at Mortgage Corporation in the South. You know, we are a complete mortgage and loan center on top of the mountain in Wetumpka. Been in business 27 years. And we always talk about all the mortgage loans that we can do, FHA, VA, and that sort of thing for folks who have good credit. But I'm going to shift gears this morning, and I'm going to talk about something else that's really, really important. You know, we're one of the only company that I'm aware of around here where someone can come in and get a mortgage on their home if they have less than perfect credit. And, you know, we didn't set out to become a lender on automobiles, but over the years, people ask us, they'd come in and they get loans on their homes. They come back later and say, hey, I need a loan on my automobile. And our initial response many years ago was, well, we don't do that. But, you know, there was such a need for it, we started doing it. So let me tell you about that right quick. Automobile equity loans. Here's the deal, folks. If you have an automobile that's paid for or almost paid for and you need a loan on it and your credit is less than perfect, you know, this might not be you, but you might know somebody. You might have someone in your family or you might have a friend. And if they've gone out and gotten stuck in one of these title pawn traps where you just can't seem to get paid off, well, hey, we have your answer. It's like a ray of
these
sunshine.
things I have no control over.
Corporation of the South, and we can lend you the money to pay off those title pawns. And people are just amazed at how low the payments are, how low the interest rate is in comparison. And it's a win-win for everybody.
50%
So
versus
if you're
200%.
needing a loan on your automobile and you have less than perfect credit, we don't care if you've had a bankruptcy before. We don't care if you've had a repossession. We don't care if you've had a foreclosure, a tax lien, medical collections. It just doesn't matter. We lend to people, not credit scores and ratings. We don't dwell on the past. So the bottom line is this. If you need a loan on your automobile or an equity loan on your home and your credit is less than perfect, well, you can call our home office. And our home office is our only office right here in Wetumpka, Alabama. Would you wrap things up here? I'll do the NMLS number for you because that seems to be challenging. That number is 232-876. We are an equal housing lender. But Mr. Kevin, if you'll wrap it up, give everybody the phone number, we'll just go from there. And we're standing by. Our phone's open at 8:30, and we're ready to help your audience. Okay.
All righty, thank you, John. Yeah, I can get that phone number pretty good. As a matter of fact, that I don't have any problem with that whatsoever. Anyway, 334-567-9000, 334-567-9000. I think that's a landline, so don't be texting them. You got to call them. Okay.
You got to call them. And I'll tell you a little secret. Most people don't know this. Don't feel bad about the NMLS number. When we were assigned that number, I used to stay up every night and I would rehearse it in front of the mirror. 232-876, 232-876, and I couldn't get it for the life. It took me like 2 years. So there you go.
Okay.
You didn't know that, but now you do.
Okay, good. Now I don't feel as bad. Appreciate it.
No, you shouldn't.
John with Mortgage Corp. Okay, on top of the mountain. Mortgage Corporation of the South. We'll be right back. Rabbi Looper is with us. Is that what they call it? You got a first name?
Scott.
Or Rabbi Scott Looper, as a matter of fact. But us, we call him Rabbi. Okay. Anyway, so we'll be back right after these messages. We already had a long message.
We did. You got lots of commercials. Got to pay, huh?
Yeah.
That's okay. We might get 15 minutes in a conversation here.
Everybody wants to be on the big dog show, you know. Okay. Hey. That's because what am I? I'm not a conservative. I'm not a liberal. If it makes sense, I'd go with whichever side you're on. If it makes sense. It has to fall within the reach of logic and reason. I mean, and a little common sense thrown in. Now, if you're missing one of those, we're good, but you got to have at least two of them. Okay. Now, I understand your issue on the name. From a pragmatic standpoint, I understand that names identify things. That's all they do, they identify things.
It's more than that. Names mean something.
In the stretch, that's true. But a lot of people walk around with names, they don't have a clue what they mean. So
okay, that again.
But I mean, again, pragmatism. I don't. My name is Kevin.
Mm-hmm.
I never ever, tell you the truth, worry about what it means. I know what it means. It means kind and gentle. It's an Irish name. Of course, I'm not Irish. But I never really think about it until somebody says, what's your name mean? And nobody ever has asked me to tell you the truth. I just tell them anyway. I volunteered anyway.
So let me ask you a question. Where does your last name come from?
Some white guy in America. Because black people name ain't Elkins. Okay?
That's true.
So that's where it comes from. Elkins is in Virginia is where the name. I think it's a Scottish name. I think, but I know the Elkins clan started in Virginia. So yeah, it was a slave name. Absolutely. But I wasn't a slave, so I'm good.
Yeah, but I wasn't killed in Auschwitz, but my relatives were. I mean, it doesn't mean that I'm it doesn't. I'm not, touched by that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I had 6 great aunts and uncles on my grandfather's side murdered, and then on my grandmother's side I had scores.
But I will say one thing: it does seem that with the history of the Black experience in America, that right in this country, that we seem to pay, and I'm not saying what we should or shouldn't, but more homage to what happened to the Jewish people than what happened to us.
I think that's a problem.
Well,
I'm seriously, I think that,
But here's the problem.
But I think that it's a big problem that we haven't redressed the issue of slavery.
But here's the problem: how do we
the
address
systemic issue?
Yeah, how do the problem is we Jewish people have showed us something that I don't know why black folks can't figure this out. You have showed us how to take a terrible situation and empower yourself with that situation to assume that it nothing happens again. Black, all we do is whine and cry about it.
Yeah, but Jews in at least in America, were never considered 3/5 of a person.
And that's true, but the reason for the 3/5 of a person, though, it was a strategic move, so the South couldn't automatically use all the slaves as on the roll books, so they could vote, they could get more representation. So that was a strategic move, not a moral issue. So I understand the tactics behind it, wrongly or maybe, but I understand the tactics.
Slaves were property.
Right. Well, if you don't pay taxes, they treat you like your property. So
I think that there's that's a good question. It's a great question. Why hasn't slavery and the issue been redressed?
But I don't know how you would. In this late day.
Well, you got to start someplace.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Change the name of schools. It's change.
That's a step. That's a step. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, I can live with that. That makes sense. But I haven't heard one school official say this is the redress of the.
No, but you got to start.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's
always
start
find
with
myself
the
at
simple.
odds.
Let's start with the simple, because no one solved the more complicated yet.
Okay, we are back. Our guest this morning is Rabbi Scott Looper, who's actually a pretty active member of our community, and he's the head rabbi over at the Temple Beth Or, I believe is how you pronounce it. Let's go back to phones and see who is there. Put your headphones on there, Rabbi, so you can hear this. Okay. Good morning. Who's this?
Good morning, Kevin. It's your rabbi guest. How are you doing today, sir?
Fine, thanks.
Good. As a Christian, I will tell you this. I embrace the Old Testament. I embrace the Pentateuch. I embrace all of the law of the prophets. And the reason is because God's word is holy and pure and never changes. Would you agree?
I would disagree.
Okay. In what manner?
It just depends how you look at text and how you understand its development in relationship to ancient cultures. So and I'm not a fundamentalist. In other words, there are Jews will say, that's the word of God. As a Reformed Jew, my perspective is different. You know, it's aspirational and things of that sort.
I'm glad to hear this. It makes for an interesting conversation. Do you agree or disagree that the Levitical law is correct?
In which Levitical law are you speaking about? There's lots of laws in Leviticus.
18, chapter 18, homosexuality, bestiality, homosexuality.
So what a great question. In fact, Kevin and I were speaking about it this morning earlier, just between the two of us, and I actually wrote a piece that was published in the Montgomery Advertiser about that. So what I would say is it's a misunderstanding of the text. And if you, so it really depends upon perspective, right? So if you say, well, the text is divine and whatever is written there is the truth, therefore we're going to follow it. But you don't, that's as I suggested, it's a misreading, because you have to read around the words. At least I read around the words. In other words, what is the text talking about in general? Not just that little phrase there, right? But what are the paragraphs before and after? So they're really talking about. Okay.
In context.
Right.
Can I ask you this?
Yes, sir.
How would the Jews, when it was given, how would they interpreted the law that was given?
So
I mean, because we can interpret in a 21st century, but that is not how the Jews, when it was given by Moses, how did they interpret it?
Okay, so you're making an assumption that you know how it was taken. So I'm just gonna.
We could go to the text that we have.
Well, that's a complex thing, because we're really missing a lot in terms of understanding what their culture was about. And it's an assumption that I'm not sure is correct. So you
say that we are.
So let me no.
You're saying there's a lot of culture that we are missing.
No,
Can you say that we are missing it? I mean, what we have to do is interpret the text based in the grammar, based in the hermeneutics, and see, based on that time, how they would have interpreted. It's so easy for us to stand and sit anywhere in the 21st century.
So let me. I understand what.
Okay. Well, let him. Hey, let him answer. Let him answer.
Right. So again, so let me just step back from that question and explain something that I think comes from that, and it's a better understanding. So I would describe Judaism as extra canonical. In other words, we have the Torah text, but that doesn't define Judaism today, nor does it define Judaism for thousands of years. So the text itself is an interpretive piece to be used. So Judaism, like, we don't have the temple anymore, so we're not practicing sacrifice, right? So right, but the question is, so my question, so it raises a question, like, is Judaism legitimate if it's no longer practicing sacrifice, right? In other words, if that's God's word, right, and God's command, why are we not doing that?
Well, that's because why we need Jesus, because we no longer need this sacrifice. But here's my question, and you can really get on something. If you're going to say it's interpretive, on what basis do you believe anything whatsoever in the Old Testament? Because any rabbi, any Jew can say, but that's interpreted.
No, what I'm saying is,
basis would you ever stand on any word of the Old Testament?
Okay, so okay, I'm not going to argue about it. I'm just trying to give you some information. So Judaism has this perspective. There's a phrase, which means turn it round and round and everything that's within it. In other words, Judaism tends to look at text and turns it round, looks at it from every angle, tries to understand, in a traditional sense, what God is trying to tell us. So there are different ways of interpretation. The first is the simple meaning, but there are an understanding of what the text hints at, how it can be understood in a homiletical way, in an interpretive way, And also there is a secret nature of the text to which we don't quite understand.
Let's take another call. Good morning, on there with the Rabbi Looper.
Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
I have a question, please.
Yes, ma'am.
And I want you to give me the scripture. And I want you to quote that scripture twice, please. The question is, will only Jews and all Jews, and those are people who were born Jews, when things are over, would they be the only people in heaven? Because I heard somebody quote that once before. So give me the scripture, please, and repeat it twice. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. I'm going to hang up and listen.
Okay, I'm a bit flummoxed by the question about giving her the scripture. I'm not sure what she's speaking about.
I guess to validate what her question. I guess.
Right. So it's such an fascinating question for me because it's not Jews who have this exclusive idea of heaven. In fact, Judaism's basis is our life in this world. Where I would say in a simple explanation, life here within a classical Christian is anathema, and that real life begins in heaven, right? The whole concept around with Jesus. So, we Jews don't really focus on like who goes to heaven. It's not the big issue for us, right? It's how we live our lives here, and that's, you asked me about the Talmud earlier. Which is it's a text that speaks about how we conduct ourselves every day. It's about government. It's about individual holiness. It's about marriage. It's about divorce. It's about property. Judaism is a communal religion. So in terms of the issues of heaven, it's not something that we really.
But the reason, and I'm just trying, and you are from what I can tell, you're pretty reasonable kind of guy. The reason we worry about those things, you do believe in right and wrong. Do you believe in a morality of sorts?
So let me step you back. Absolutely, there's no question about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the big issue around that is about purity of the soul, right? How are we born? Are we tainted or not? So Judaism believes that we're born with a pure soul, right? So the soul is not tainted. There's nothing wrong with us. So and we're all human beings. We're all going to die with some sort of sin. It's just the nature of it, right? And for Judaism, there's a belief that only the worst of the worst of the worst would not be granted a place in heaven. But
but who determines worth? Who determines which degree?
That would be God.
That would be God.
Suggest, okay. Right? Even though, again, like I said, there's not this focus on heaven, but I do believe, the whole issue comes from, whether the soul is tainted, right? So for Judaism, the soul is not tainted, and every day we have a prayer that says, "The soul you've given me, Lord, is pure," right? Mm-hmm. And so every day that's renewed in us. I think that's the best answer I can give you on that.
Okay. Our guest this morning is Rabbi Looper, Scott Looper. You can give us a call. 860-1440 is the number. And you're on air. Good morning.
Good morning, Kev.
Yes.
Good morning, Rabbi.
Good morning.
There's a gentleman, his name is Noah Harari. Are you familiar with him?
I do not know Noah Harari.
He's got 3 books, Sapiens, Homo Deus, and 21 Solutions for the 21st Century. And he addresses some of the things that you're talking about this morning, about the different faiths, religions, and that. And he's heard all over the world. He's an Israeli, actually.
And he advocates that if we're going to survive as a species, that we need to, first of all, get rid of all religions, because religions were either created by individuals or governments to control people. And the next thing he said was that we should take engineering approaches to solve all of our problems. And what you just said about the Calvinists, that everybody says, well, they rule the world. Well, that's why. That makes sense. Everything in it, what you said, makes sense. And the emotions, there was no emotions about the way you said it. But I did have a question for you. One of the things that America needs right now is we need to get out of the business of declaring paternity. With ultrasound and all the technology we have, we can identify the parents in that. But what that has done is created a state of absolute chaos when it comes to rearing children and building on foundations for faith or religions or whatever you want to call it. But I understand that, the Jewish faith, the only way that you can be an absolute Jew is you have to be born to a Jewish female. And that's the one way they've kept the Jewish maternity or whatever intact for all these years. Can you say I'm right or wrong, or elaborate on that just a little bit, please?
Okay, sure. I'll answer that question.
I'm going to hang up and listen.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so let me say this. Like, you can't speak about Judaism and say, like, Judaism is just one thing, right? So you can't say Christianity is just one thing. There's broad interpretations of Christianity. How many types of Baptists are there?
Plenty.
Plenty, at least 70, right? So Judaism has different strains. So there's Orthodox Judaism, Conservative Judaism, Reform Judaism, and so those are, and even within that, there's, it tends to there's a broad spectrum. So it's important to note that Judaism has different interpretations. So one interpretation or one understanding is that, that if you're born to identify someone as a Jew, you're born of a Jewish mother. And I'm going to talk about the reason for that real briefly, which is that to be, at first it was patriarchal descent in the Bible. Later on, when Jews are kidnapped and Jews are raped and you don't know who the father is, but you can identify who the mother is, that you identify, you would say, well, this person is Jewish through the mother, because we don't know who the father is. And I think that was probably a sociological issue. You can convert to Judaism. Judaism's a religion. It's not a race. And within Reform Judaism, there's something called patrilineal descent. In other words, if your father is Jewish and your mother's not Jewish, but you're reared as a Jew, you're considered Jewish.
All right. Let me take this call here. Good morning, caller, you on there.
Good morning.
Good morning.
At one time, the Jews made up 20% of Rome's population. The Jews fought the Romans, and the Jews lost 800,000. They fought them again, lost 400,000, and that started a diaspora, and they probably went into Egypt at that time. And Joshua, when he came out of the wilderness, ran the original Jews into Carthage and southward toward South Africa. Now, the fellow talked about the Jewish mother and the like. Paul Johnson, I believe, the history of the Jews, claimed that that came from.
Okay, I got you, but he knows his history. I mean, is there a question for him? He knows the history of Judaism. Okay.
So actually, let me just let me do the Hitler thing real quick. To be Hitler considered you a Jew if one grandparent was 1/4 Jewish. So, Judaism doesn't depend upon others to define who a Jew is.
Okay. All right, got to take my last break of the hour. We'll come back. Our guest is Rabbi Looper. This has been an interesting conversation. You'll be surprised all the things that people think they know. We'll be back after this.
How am I doing?
You're doing all right. It does amaze me how people think that they know.
So that man, I didn't want to go back at him because his history was all over the place. Right. So he's talking about the revolt against Rome and the Bar Kokhba revolt of all the hundreds of thousands of people. But then he goes to Joshua, which predates, according to tradition, by about 1,200 years, right? And his movement of place and things of that sort.
I'm going to have to, certainly. Really. Let me ask, does Jewish people believe in abortion?
So, yes. And so, again, that comes with the issue that I was stressing before, right? Which is the purity of, right? The birth doesn't, or life doesn't begin, according to Judaism, until the fetus emerges from the birth canal. That's what. Oh, so let me just finish, right? So, and the the life of the mother. So therefore, the life of the mother overrides anything.
And I'm in agreement with that.
So that's a piece of it. Like you can dismember the fetus to save the life of the mother, right? Because the mother can have other children. If the mother dies, that's it, right? Children don't have a mother, can't have more children. So the perspective is, right, that yes, you can. We believe in abortion because
there are times when
right, but it's not even times, right? It's when life begins. And then there's a much more complex. I can send you a whole. I have a whole
but the complexity of it to me is this: life is a process. It is not.
What do you mean?
Well, first of all,
living life is a process.
Right, but the whole process is, to me, the process starts at conception.
Right, and Judaism does not believe that life's process. It's sacred and it is potential life, but it is not considered life.
But if it's part of the process, how can you eliminate the beginning?
Well, that you can just say, is an egg a chicken? Why do we say what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Is an egg a chicken?
Well, with eggs, not the chicken, but without the egg, there would be no chicken.
Right. So you need to have, right? You have
the process
that's developing, but it's not a chicken yet. We don't say that's a chicken. Don't count your chickens until they're hatched. Right? It's not chicken.
But then from that,
Try again.
Right. From that standpoint, then what really is death?
Well, that's pretty simple.
Well, not really, because if we can't acknowledge the process of life, which begins at conception, how can we acknowledge the death of it?
Okay, so that's your interpretation. I'm not going to say I don't agree with you. Okay. That life begins at conception. That's not a Jewish perspective. So can you get that?
I get that, but because it's not your perspective, doesn't change reality.
What?
It doesn't change the reality that the process of life begins someplace and it ends someplace. It begins and it ends. It's got to begin.
That's correct.
So conception is where it all begins.
Is a seed a plant?
It is the process.
A seed is a plant in potential. The fetus is life in potential. It is not yet a life, according to Judaism. I see your eyes. But I'm just telling you. You asked me the question. I'm telling you what Judaism says.
Okay.
I can't give you any more.
No, but
okay. So abortion is allowed in Judaism. It's to save the life of the mother.
I understand that part.
That's the main piece.
I understand that
part. So therefore, if we say, and then it gets broadened, right? What does that mean? Like if she's under, anything that causes her pain, emotional pain, distress, All those things.
Hell, that's life in
There
itself.
you go, right? You're lucky you were born.
Well, but you can't end something until it begins. So,
yeah, there's no question. But the question that we're having, right, is when does life begin? And I'd say life begins at birth, and death ends when your heart stops.
So that other 9 months is what?
That's gestation.
Okay. And
am I life?
I have a heartbeat.
Again, if I take you out of the womb at 20 weeks, you're dying.
Okay.
I don't, you know.
And good morning, everybody. This is probably got to be one of the most interesting conversations I think I've had in a long time up here, and I'm completely intrigued by it. 860-1440 is the number here. I guess is Rabbi Scott Looper from Temple Beth Or Synagogue. I call it synagogue.
Temple's fine.
Temple. Okay. Well, let's go back to the phone and see who wants to ask you many questions. Good morning, on there. Good morning. Good morning.
Real quick question, Rabbi Luther. What would be your recommendation with your faith and all for people of color who are in a disenfranchised situation in reference to, some of them are women, some of them are men. They're struggling with all types of racism and things of that nature. What would be your advice to them to get out of this situation in reference to their faith, as well as what would be your advice to help them improve economically?
Okay.
Stop paying $200 for a pair of tennis shoes.
Well, can I answer that question?
Yeah, that was my question.
Okay. You know, I appreciate your question. I think it's a really complex question for me to answer. It's not really within my bailiwick, but I'll attempt. So Judaism says that above anything, every Jew is responsible for every other Jew. We can broaden that to say every person is responsible for every other person, which talks about a community's responsibility for the well-being of its citizens. And so, a lot of times we just talk about, well, it's the individual's fault. They're not doing this. They're not doing enough. If they did that, they could pull themselves up. A society has to be. I think that if you have a societal interest in that, then that happens. If you have a society that is not going to assist and not going to help, and then it makes it all but impossible, or just by fortune and luck. So, my words are that we as a community, as a whole, right, need to recognize the sacredness of every individual, and to work to the betterment of all life here. And so that would be my answer.
Good morning, on there with Rabbi Looper.
Hello.
Yes.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, Rabbi.
Good morning. Hope you're having a good morning.
I am listening to you, and I hope that you come back. Now, have you asked Kevin how are you doing? I'll let you know you're doing very well.
Oh, that went on the radio. Okay. Well, thank you, man. Appreciate it.
No, you're doing a good job because of having to deal with audience members that are going to make you face what they want you to in their own beliefs, and you're standing your ground, and I appreciate that.
I'm just trying to be truthful and honest.
Well, that's the way all of us should be, and I appreciate that. The only question I have, and I have to go and listen to the recording, when did you address the Whoopi Goldberg situation?
The book of what?
Whoopi Goldberg, I think.
Did you discuss the Whoopi Goldberg situation?
Kevin and I did a couple weeks ago, but no, we haven't had.
Yeah, but I also but I played his response to it today.
Okay, sir, can you give your, as a rabbi, can you discuss what Whoopi Goldberg said, and if you feel that she was wrong in the statements that she made? And I'll hang up.
Okay, thank you. Look, I'm not in Whoopi Goldberg's head, so I can't tell you that. I think that, I don't think that she said what she said because of any anti-Semitic feelings. I think it was just a misunderstanding of what things are. So, one of the things really to be clear about is Judaism is not a race. Judaism is a religion, and that we tend to think differently today. But most nation states were attached to a church. And it wasn't really until about 250, 300 years, right, that you start to get states that are separate from the church. So with Whoopi Goldberg, I think that the issue, one of the issues is to say, well, there's a white people fighting white people, and it's a misunderstanding of Jews because Jews are not just white people. If you go to Ethiopia, you have Ethiopian Jews, and you can go throughout the world, and so Jews are, have been dispersed throughout different nations, but we're a religion. Jews have been prejudiced against because of their faith, and it seems a strange thing, like if you can say person, especially when we go to race and we make decisions about race, but Judaism is a religion, and Jews have been persecuted because of the religion, not.
And I will have his total answer on the podcast later today, because we had that conversation a couple weeks ago, and it'll be on the podcast. You just go to Podbean and you'll find it. I'll put on my Facebook page. I'll put a link to it. Good morning. Who's this?
Hey, good morning.
Morning.
Quick question to follow on the question that Kevin asked before the break. I know you said you took umbrage with the fact that the New Testament says the Jews killed Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Would you agree, though, that the Pharisees and the Jewish leadership wanted Jesus dead?
Good question. So again, I can't travel back in time, so not knowing what was going on. But if you're under Rome with the threat of death and persecution, you probably don't want anybody, right, militating against that power. And so, yeah, I mean, I would say that probably the Jews in power were not pleased that there was this individual saying that, he followed Jesus, especially in relationship to Rome. And it's sort of naive to think that like everything was fine and then Jesus came along and then the Romans crucified Jesus. They crucified thousands of people. And so, again, history is a really important piece. But I would not say that, yes, I would say that, the powers that be, I'm sure that they were troubled by the presence of that, of Jesus as an individual. But again, they didn't make the decision. Rome made the decision in terms of who to crucify.
Okay. Let me take one more question. I'm going to give the rabbi the last word. Good morning. Who's this?
They're small and great, stand for God. Have a good day, my friend.
Well, I got time to get one more then. Good morning. Who's this? Hello? Yeah, quickly. Mm-hmm.
Okay, my question is, with all the information, this is the encyclopedia on Jewish diaspora, like the Igbo Jews, the Yoruba Jews. I think Rabbi Luther mentioned the Beta Israel, Ethiopia. Is there any way that you guys are engaged in teaching this information to African Americans that are descended from a lot of these tribes?
I can say there's literature out there. I don't think that there is a, I think it's a good conversation to be had in terms of how we understand one another. But there's not no, it's not a concerted effort in terms of outreach. I think that the issues are far more complex. However, I think that I appreciate your suggestion, and I think it's a nice starting point for conversation.
But Carla, let me ask you a question. If you're Jewish, if you have a lineage of Jewish, wouldn't just studying Judaism cover it wouldn't?
No, I don't think it would just.
Okay.
It wouldn't cover it because, it's you could study how it's practiced in certain areas, right? Because Judaism, again, the practice of it, the decisions that are made, it's not a singular piece, right? There's not one truth to Judaism. There's multi perspectives around truth.
So you guys know better off than Christianity then, because everybody's got even in the Baptists, we got the special Baptists, the left Baptists, the right Baptists, then we got the Catholics, then we got the Lutherans, we got the, I mean, so y'all are just as confused as we are.
Well, there's many ways of understanding a path towards the divine. I don't think it's confusion. I think it's an attempt to understand and to feel what's proper or right. Of course, one person's proper or right is not another person.
See, that's another issue.
So, what can I say? All I can tell you is Judaism came first.
We got 1 minute left. If there's anything that you wanted to dispel this morning, if you can give me about 45 seconds, what is that?
Ooh.
Oh, you got to come back a second time.
I would say, first of all, I really appreciate that people have called in and asked questions, and I hope I didn't offend anybody. But I'm sure I did, because we have our own conceptions and perhaps I would say misconceptions. And the reason I showed up here today and engaged in conversation is really to clear up misconceptions.
Well, we have to have you back because I got to go, but we have to have you back. It's been a great conversation. Yeah, we need you up here more often. So that's part one. So hopefully we'll do part two some other time. We'll be back.
So you can tell people that they are welcome to email me and ask questions.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah, well, no problem.
I'm happy to come back, answer questions.
Actually, it went better than I thought it was.
Okay. You thought it was going to be bad, and
well, you're lib, so.
Oh, I'm fine.
I'm kind of.
Well, no one got on and was racist,
right?
Well,
yeah, well, we would,
or anti-Semitic, and
as soon as we did that, they did.
Yeah, I know they would get cut off, but we didn't even have to deal with that.
Yeah, we have to deal with that. Well, Rabbi, I've learned a lot today.
There you go.
I must admit, though, I'm somewhat fascinated by the Jewish faith. There's a part in it I read in the Talmud that says. I don't want to say this on the air.
You can.
That Jesus was in a pile of excrement or something like that.
Again, I'd have to try to find that.
Yeah, I'll find it for you because it was quite degrading.
I don't know, if it talked about Jesus per se.
Yeah.
If I was talking about false
do you guys look too far around the pile of mess that's right there to find why the mess is there? Isn't it enough to know that it's there? Because you seem to want to analyze every person.
Okay, so
this morning over the possibility Russia.
So I think that Judaism has always looked from a broader perspective. In other words, it's not just it's there. It's about, well, why is it there? How did that happen? How did that mess get there? Right? How do we confront that and deal with that and answer that? Right? And what are all the things that go into that? Right? There's a joke if you